This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Sometimes you lose the best things before the show.
That production meeting really steals all the material.
Before we hit the air, before the mics are hot, we sometimes waste our best material. But we're going to relive it. And we're not going to tell you what.
Rehearsal is what they call that in the business.
Oh, my gosh. So we're going, hi, Marnie, welcome. By the way, before we get started, I wanted to let you all know we have an official sponsor. Skittles is sponsoring tonight's show.
Oh, yeah.
Three of them are going to kill you.
Yeah, well, we're not sure which ones. So it's either risk the whole bag.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And
Oh, no! You did not bring...
And let me tell you how happy Skittles is about this.
For those of you that aren't watching and are just suffering through the audible portion of this, Ms. Ryer has purchased and brought with her this evening.
I'm gonna choose these three.
Skittles, Skittles, the candy that keeps on giving.
I think I just ate a refugee.
No, the whole bowl was refugees.
I feel like we should.
but one of them was going to kill you.
I feel like our opening song.
Except I'm gonna die.
Our opening song should have been Tom Petty.
Oh.
But we probably would have got copyright infringed on that.
Totally.
So we'll get right on this.
We need to just start singing all of those songs.
Yeah, oh, sure.
So John Legend wrote in his tweet back, by that logic, you would take everyone's guns away because someone's going to kill somebody at some point. But I guess that doesn't count.
Right.
Different.
Very different.
Guns are the answer.
And then they have refugees on a ship in black and white from Malcolm Nance. It says, this image that says it all. In 1939, 900 Jews on ship from Nazi Germany to USA were sent back. 25% died in the Holocaust. Not Skittles.
My heaven's sakes.
I mean, everybody went nuts.
That'd be a
with
lot
this.
of Skittles to lose.
Yes. And I saw it briefly on a screenshot on the news, but I didn't get the exact quote. Wrigley's, who, by the way, produces Skittles, not too happy about being associated with any of that.
That's what I just said.
But what's the actual? But what was the actual tweet that they said?
From Mars?
From
They said Skittles are candy, refugees are people. It's not the same thing. Keep us out of it.
Got it.
That's pretty close.
Paraphrasing from Cap Carlson. There she goes. No, that's what I was looking for. Because, I mean, Jesus, can you imagine? We're a candy company. We're good. Leave us out of this. And all of a sudden you throw them into that mired bullshit. Holy cow. Well, hi,
and they
everybody.
said they will respectfully refrain from further commentary as anything we say could be misinterpreted
as marketing. Yes. Which I thought that was very good as well.
Because they're getting a lot of marketing out of this.
Yeah, unintentional.
Look, we've got 6 bags of Skittles.
Look at that.
Oh, and because they always seem to find a way
Skittle
to
toss.
mirror white supremacists, this Trump family, it's kind of crazy how they do it. So there's an interview with 3 Klansmen, and one of them seems to be more important than the other 2 because his robe is blue. It says,
Interesting.
That's David Duke.
his quote says, if you
Maybe
shit.
his mom just redecorated.
I just saw it in the window
Bought
and I
new
had to have
sheets.
it.
and I really don't know if this is true, but this quote is weird. But it's the guy that went around and did Black in America, and he went to all those.
right.
The black guy
Yeah.
that did that? Yeah, very
So,
interesting show.
This is in his interview with a Klan, and it says, if you take a bag of Skittles, there's different colors in that bag. You can mix the colors, and it still tastes okay. But if you separate the colors and then taste the individual flavors, it's even better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Skittles, the go-to candy for white supremacists.
All of a sudden, they've got their own candy.
Did you happen to see when you were in the Skittles selection, which I'm sure there's a huge end cap of just Skittles only? I understood because I saw it today on somewhere on the webs that there is one called the America Blend.
I did not see that.
Which are just
is it spelled apostrophe
no,
M-U-R?
No. It was. I think it was for the 4th of July or something because it's
like red, white,
all
and
red,
blue?
white, and blue. Yeah.
No, I did not see that, but
Yeah?
of course I just ran into the Circle K.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Well, gotcha. Like you
but-
do.
And I left the sours out of it. So if anybody
Oh,
wants
but you
the
see,
sours,
you should have put the sours in.
'Cause
Those
that's
could have
the
been the
refugees?
yes.
Oh my God! Put 3 sours in there.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
just the 3?
Okay.
Wow.
Because wasn't that how many Skittles are going to kill
They
us?
did an analysis this
That's
morning
right, that's
on the radio station that Al has hated for a long time, and I'm learning to hate more and more.
We'll be able to tell.
They did an analysis this morning of how large because they actually pulled up the actual figures of percentages based on population or based on immigration status, yada yada yada. It was 1.5 Olympic-size swimming pools full of Skittles, with 3 Skittles amongst that many. That was the percentage, of how.
That's the realistic.
Yeah, that's the real the real comparison as to what it really is, as opposed to this little bitty bowl in the picture that they're saying no. It's a lot bigger.
Well, and just like Donald Trump, I just want to let you know that if we did put the sour Skittles in, you'd be able to tell. You'd be able to find those refugees right away. Just
you
like
mean
Donald.
we'd be able to profile them?
You'd be able to profile them
And haul
just
them
like Donald.
I don't know how you do it. They're professionals. They
because-
just
the
do it.
texture's different.
Texture is different.
Yeah, like skin color, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
My God,
Oh, it's awful.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
ladies and
They're
gentlemen,
sour.
Yeah.
Al Perkins has just experienced a sour Skittle for the first time.
Don't die.
Well, there goes the wine.
Oh, that's sad.
Terrible.
I think if you
For
drink,
real.
I think if you drink wine faster, it'll kill it.
If
Yeah, I
anybody
think-
wants those.
Try some raspberries.
Wow.
If you don't, I'll
Well,
take
you know
them
that's
to
growing
Aaron.
on me now.
That's how sour candy
And
works.
you're-
The first one is horrible, and then you can't stop eating them.
The second one was just as bad.
No, I enjoy some sour candies occasionally, but I have not had the sour Skittles, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. It's gonna mess up my coffee, my water, and my
I want
Canada
these 3
Dry.
to kill me.
Fuck you, Kat Carlson.
I say we just have some boozy Skittles.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at
Oh,
that.
I think vodka with Skittles on the bottom would eventually turn into
I,
something.
I saw a video of
that's
that.
cute.
You can actually like infuse and dissolve your candies into the vodkas, and
Isn't there?
that's a thing.
Isn't that
Gummy
how flavored
bears.
vodkas probably got started? Somebody put like a Jolly Rancher in the bottom of something. Oh my God, let's make watermelon
so.
vodka.
Yeah.
Why the fuck
Walked
did
away
you?
for a day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I know, right?
Oh, so sour.
Oh, look at the look! Wow.
And then Nan says, wouldn't it be great if people were Skittles, especially during zombie apocalypse? Yes.
Good evening to everybody in the chat room. My gosh, it's a very busy one. Hi, Mom, you're in there as well, and Bootsy and Nero and Joe D and Meow Cow and
Nat
everybody. And we might as well get it out of the way just here at the top of the show. You wanted to give a shout
A
out.
shout out to a listener from the future, Joey from Canada,
Yeah.
Hi, Joey
was
from
texting
Canada.
me
For
last.
Rusi, if I'm not, is that right? For Rusi, is that
Yeah.
his name?
All the same sounds.
Yeah, sure.
It's got letters and vowels and stuff in it.
Yeah, he was texting me like the whole first half of last week's show, and I completely was content in texting him and forgot to give the shout out
For him to hear later.
for him to hear later. So he'll have been very disappointed last week when he listened, but next week when he listens to this,
Joey.
Yeah. Now,
Joey, we do love you, and I was listening.
What we were discussing prior to going on the air, not the thing that was funny necessarily, but something else. I was making the comment that you and I, Joey, are friends on the Facebooks, and you drive a charter bus for a company up there, and you seem to always be on vacation, and I wasn't sure if maybe part of the perk of being a charter bus driver was when the people on the bus go on the boat to
Round
go
and
somewhere, do you just get to go along? I don't know how that works.
We look forward to
No.
your reply
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
to 10 days in the future.
I'd like to find out about that. You could message me. Now, I do recall growing up, my mom's father was a bus driver for Trailways Bus Systems, and when he would stop off, because the restaurants loved him along the route between whatever cities he was going to.
Right.
Those restaurants would love it if you'd show up with 45 people in a bus that were hungry, because that driver eat for free every damn time.
Oh, yeah.
So-
you just brought
to
captives.
become-
Right, no,
Bus
exactly,
driver.
exactly. So I'm wondering, the boat drivers up there in Canada are taking people on tours of the bay of whatever. The bus driver goes along. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's how that all works.
I feel good about it.
If you're gonna drive somewhere and bring people that are spending money, that driver's gonna sleep for free.
Well, somebody was just
No?
telling me about a boat ride, a Grand Canyon adventure that you do, but you need a boat person to take you, like a captain, only when it's windy.
Hell of a day at sea, sir.
But you pay for his way. So this guy captains your boat, and he gets the whole adventure that you do. He just got his one job to do while he's there.
Is that not similar to, and forgive me for the name of them, they are the ones that take you to the top of like Mount Everest?
Sherpas?
Isn't that not, I mean, similar from the standpoint of, if you want to go to the top of Everest,
Yep.
you...
That's all they do, though. This was an adventure that he was a boat
okay.
captain that got to come down and
Okay.
just do this one thing. It
I
wasn't
see.
necessarily his territory.
So it wasn't necessarily his trade. He just got the free adventure in exchange for
May or may not have been experienced.
his
to
nautical
pilot their ship.
expertise.
And may or may not have been adversed in that boat, but we'll find out, I guess, about halfway through the
Well,
trip.
it was a survivor that told the tale, so.
Well, I made it out of that 3-hour tour, so
Yeah, very good.
all was well.
Clayton, Joey, and I will form our own bus company. I can see it now. Meow Cal is trying to sell me on being a charter driver. No,
I think it's great.
no, I don't want to be a charter. No, I don't. I enjoy the bus, but I don't enjoy the people.
It's a good point.
It's very similar to going to the grocery store. I don't mind the products.
I like the food.
Right. I don't mind the products and the music. I just don't like any of their fucking people in the store.
I love the music. Oh my god, I almost threw a fit in the store on Sunday.
Do tell. We'll start our "What did you do this past week?" segment.
Almost
with
through a fit in
Cat
the
almost
store.
got. I'm gonna go with Cat almost got arrested in the store.
We were
No,
lured
not
in.
at all. I was, some days you just wake up and you're grumpy and you kind of know that you are, and you keep trying to shake it off, and you think, well, one more cup of coffee. Well, maybe if I get out of these pajamas, maybe if I leave the house.
Is it one more cup of coffee as you're white knuckling something?
But then
Your partner.
right, children.
What? Oh, children! Wow.
Oh, I see.
But then you realize what is usually a very enjoyable experience, like me and the little BFF at the grocery store, is the most fun that I can have most weeks. Like,
Sure.
Very, very fun. He's super enthusiastic about everything
Well, and his
at the grocery
coupons.
He's
store.
got his coupons.
He's
been
got
bragging.
We've got our coupons. We've been shopping the ads.
Yeah.
Like the grocery store is his jam. He is so excited at the grocery store, and you can't help but be equally excited,
Sure,
right?
right.
But I was just having a grumpy Sunday for no
Grown-up
reason,
day, yeah.
right?
Grown up day.
For no reason.
There was no vodka there,
Yeah.
really.
Well, that might have been. Maybe I should have just drank.
A mimosa in the
Dear
morning.
diary.
Dear diary,
Maybe
next time
liquor.
you feel this way, try booze.
Wow.
So anyway, so I'm like trying to shake it off. I take a shower. I drink more coffee. And all the things.
I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how any of that works.
Apparently it wasn't. And so I thought, well, and it does happen to me. Like if I stay home too often, you get kind of into that funk, and then you leave the house and instantly feel more human.
Yeah, sunshine.
That
people,
happens,
yeah.
right? Sunshine, people, productivity,
Yeah.
distance from the sofa.
Oh,
There's math there.
All of these things contribute to a better mood sometimes, but
Sometimes.
not on Sunday. We walked into the store and we didn't even get past the cucumbers, which are right at the front door. And I looked at the kid and I was like, "There's no way we're gonna kill somebody. This is not happening." Because they were just, and I don't
You're
like.
about to be an accomplice to
Right,
something.
and I don't like to shop on the weekends because then all of the stupid people and all 10 of their kids had to come to the grocery
Oh, of
store.
course, right. After church.
And I'm not opposed to children at the grocery store, but you don't need 10 of them.
Pick your two favorites.
Right.
Or one.
Pick a lotto, like have a weekend lotto.
Or
Who
an-
gets to go to the store?
or an adult that acts like a child might even be a safer bet.
Which Skittle is going with me today? Come on.
Right.
Come along, Skittle.
Attention, Skittles.
Because one of you is going to be poisoned.
First one to solve this math problem on the board gets to go to the grocery
We're gonna
store.
call you Canary today. how's that gonna be for you?
Yeah. So we made the grumpiest, fastest tour through the grocery store to get just the bare minimum of things that we needed for Monday morning. And
Sure,
we
it
were
was
out
enjoyable
before-
for all.
It was not. No.
I mean-
people were glaring. Even my kids looking at me like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But we're getting eggs. And I said, "Yes, we're getting eggs." Fine. Good
And
Lord.
why
That sounds
wouldn't you?
dangerous, actually. but-
So is cucumbers
was-
and eggs all you got?
Pretty close.
Oh.
For a delicious breakfast.
I think I believe there was some. Well, because he's obsessed with eggs and nobody knows why. Because he won't eat them, but he has to buy them 3 days a week.
Oh,
Don't ask.
That keeps everybody in eggs.
Right.
Somebody Google that cucumber and egg recipe now.
We scramble them. We boil them. We do all the things
well,
with eggs.
I feel like there's
Poach
a.
But he won't eat them?
He won't eat them. No.
Does he? Will he eat them unknowingly?
He will not
Like
eat
if
them
they're
in a
in-
box. He
No,
will not
no.
eat them with a
But
fox.
like cake and
They were in a
stuff
cake
like
or a
that,
cat.
Oh
casserole.
yeah. No.
Like
We'll,
if there was something, I don't know, casseroles take eggs, but I'm just was throwing it out there.
yes.
An egg casserole does.
Sure, an egg
Sure.
cucumber
A
casserole.
quiche,
Egg
perhaps.
and-
Oh, a quiche, yeah.
No, but just plain
Frittata.
eggs. Like you know what I mean. I like fried eggs and scrambled
So do
eggs.
I, yeah.
Yeah. No.
No? Wow.
Doesn't care. Doesn't care.
Fuck, it's like, fuck
So
that.
Sharon and I, we eat eggs every day.
Well, you have to, because you got to eat, somebody's going to eat them
Yeah,
eggs.
keep up with them.
The eggs keep fucking coming. Now, what I missed was when I got off work, when I worked at the bar and got off at 2:30 in the morning, and the 24-hour Albertsons was right there in Scottsdale, and to have a whole grocery store to yourself,
All to yourself
It was-
and
and-
one grumpy stock boy in the back.
Heaven,
yeah,
Yes.
that had to run up to the front and check you out when it
Yeah.
was time, and I always felt bad because there's no reason to stay open except for you can make a couple bucks while your stock people are clearly there.
Right.
You're just taking advantage of people that have to be there. and making them deal with people when they clearly don't want to, and neither do you. Like, it's the most awkward conversation of get the fuck,
Right.
you too,
Yes.
and so's your mother.
I used to greatly, before I went on a full on Walmart boycott, I used to greatly enjoy the 24-hour Walmart after the bar would close. Would go there quite frequently and do
Just the
all of my
stalkers.
shopping. Yeah, just the stalkers and the crackheads. Like,
Yeah.
happy, happy, happy.
I just can't.
But can you tell them apart?
Not always.
Not necessarily.
No.
One is
Walk up to someone and be like, "Excuse me, sir, can you tell me where that?" And they go, "Nope, sure can."
Some
Do
are
you see
u-
the flies? Do you see the flies?
some have a union label and others don't.
Yeah.
That'd be about the only way you could tell.
The Walmart workers are not wearing a union label.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I figured the United Crackheads of America
Oh,
are
yeah,
probably.
union.
They seem to be a fucking army.
Crackheads
everywhere.
have unionized.
I've
I'm
heard of
pretty
the-
sure.
I've heard
They
of
will
the
before
UCA.
Walmart will.
No.
Yeah, that's a true.
I think they have because what they're doing is they're ripping off bike parts and things around the city, and they're somehow selling them or melding them into something else. I mean, obviously, they are because they steal more fucking bike parts than anybody I've ever met in my life.
building a juggernaut.
I don't know what they're building, but it's got to be a lot of bike wheels and seats and shit.
Was there another theft in the family?
Well, no, I did. Well, last week I lost another back tail light,
Oh,
but
son
I'm
of a
like,
bitch.
but other than that, I continually see people walking around with just like a handlebars or just here's a wheel, and I'm like,
Do you ever pull over and be like, "Excuse me, sir, where's the rest of your bike?"
no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not engaging these people. No.
They're just walking around with their rear bike light.
How much for the wheel? $4. $4. I don't know. Maybe it's Rain Man or something. I decided. It was.
Maybe
I
you
don't-
should. Maybe you should help the economy and start
Nope.
buying these parts off their hands.
Oh, I'm buying new parts for shit. I'm fine. The economy's going right along with everybody that I know that has to buy new brakes, new tires, new handlebars, lights. I always take my headlight in because that sumbitch is $70.
That's a lot.
But my little backlight, unfortunately, I had the backlight that I never have installed on your bike yet.
Mine's getting the job done.
Well, okay,
Still
but
haven't been rear-ended.
I just felt
sadly.
I wanted more safety for you.
No matter how many times you stop short and bend over.
Exactly.
He wears a
Still no
sign.
takers.
He just has a sign on the back of his chest that stops abruptly.
Be prepared.
Sudden stops for no reason.
Bring drinks.
Likes Durant's.
I'll even pay.
Oh my God! See,
That's a hell of a
Joe
deal.
lost a tail light at Safeway the other day. No, you're not safe anywhere. You're not safe.
Goodness gracious.
And they
the
just
world's
and they
coming to.
twisted the motherfucker off. Like they couldn't just pop it off because I'm smart enough to super glue the motherfucker. They twisted it off. And I'm like, well, now it's just worthless. Now it's just like a paperweight that blinks. That's apparently all
Maybe
they
they were having a bad day like me
that's
and they
what
just
they were
hulked
looking
out.
for.
I don't know. It's
We had the Bootsy was saying that every single bike was stolen out of the parking garage at his apartment complex.
oh, the new one.
And
He just-
that,
wow.
yeah, he said that his was thankfully parked in the garage, but I know that Erin rode her bike over to the house. This was a little while back, but she rode because she didn't have it anymore. She rode it over to the house and parked it. You know how I have that swing right up front,
Yeah.
next to the door. Put it right behind that,
Shut up.
and it wasn't. It couldn't have been more than 2 hours, and that's right up
On your
by
front
the
porch.
living
Your front
room.
door, yeah.
Right.
Front door. We
And
sit
your-
in the living room,
And your dogs hear everything.
Yep. And she went out to get the bike in. Nope, was not there.
I remember you. That's been a while.
It
I
was
don't
a while
remember that.
ago. Mhm.
I
Not
remember
thinking that on your porch you would have to lock it up, but oh sure.
Yeah, I mean, and truly just pulled it behind something, and it wasn't even like it was.
That just means somebody's like walking around the house.
Right.
Well, just
doing
walking
shit.
around neighborhood, just looking for little shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to get really close to see the bike behind the swing.
you
Yeah.
really do to pay attention. I thought, oh,
Well, you know what's interesting
Jeez.
is
God, that makes me
I've-
crazy.
I've talked about it before, but it is interesting to me to watch now that I have the cameras that I've installed here on the house.
Mm-hmm.
It really is interesting to see how much traffic is on your street. I mean, some of us live on streets that are more of a thoroughfare than others, but I'm really surprised because mine's not a through street. Mine's cut off on both ends. This is like a Target street. You've got to
Yeah.
really need to be here for some reason. So traffic, foot walking, people here and there, animals. It's just interesting to see how much activity there really is. And like I've said before, I never knew how much fucking activity overnight with my cats in and out of the house.
Right.
There's a notification every 5 minutes. Backyard, front yard, carport, sidewalk. They're all over the place. But it's
Maybe delete cats from stream.
well, no, because they're walking in areas where I want to make sure other people don't walk. But it's
I'm just saying the notification.
I can't you
Oh.
can't discern. The camera doesn't know.
Something bigger than a bread box.
No,
Ring your bell.
but it's just
That one cat is definitely bigger
Well, you
than
can
Brad
ring
Pitt.
unfortunately. Well, in your case, you could have something on. It would have notified you if there was activity on the front porch.
Sure.
But still, that's just brazen to come right up on the
So
front porch
brazen.
of somebody. And more than likely, I'm just going to assume, you may have had either a reality TV show because she was there or a football game on, and it was probably loud and you never heard it.
Well, and if the dogs do bark, I have to admit, sometimes I'm just like,
Shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they bark at everything.
Sure.
And so I really should probably take it into consideration
really not.
to peek and at least, look out. But it was just crazy to come up. I mean, if you have it in the driveway, and I'm not saying that you're goading someone to come up and take it, but
it
at
makes
the same
more sense.
time, it
Plus,
makes
you feel
so
a little
much
bit
more
safer
sense.
that someone's not right up against your
Right.
house.
That was the big deal. Because where, it gets fairly dark right out there. I mean, it can. And so, there are places.
Yeah.
Someone said, well, you should put up like shrubs and whatnot, like kind of right up front and hide the porch a little bit. No, thank you.
No.
Not
Then
even
that's
a little
places
bit.
for people to hide.
Right. That's
Right.
one of my
Absolutely.
arguments with Mom on
Rose
her.
bushes, on the other hand.
With her thorny. Actually, and
That's not a
Bougainvillea have thorns on them too.
Oh,
So
that bougainvillea gets all over your fucking
does.
house.
Roses
I
are
hate that
prettier.
shit.
Well,
Sorry.
and
And they're pretty
bougainvillea,
hardy.
They're beautiful, but they also are very painful. I mean, just real painful.
And I
I'm
need to be
saying
out
to
and
clean
see
and, like, be able
clearly
to-
in all directions. That's
do
why
too.
all tree I have one tree left, but all trees in the front and backyard of both houses I've owned mysteriously died
Yeah.
Oh,
due to a
sad.
lack of
I don't
witnesses.
know what could have happened.
I don't know where they went, but I am not the keeper of trees because I don't like I don't like going up to someone's house at night if they've got trees or bushes. I don't like walking around bushes. Like Jason's house,
I don't like that
I
either.
don't like that turn.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
And then I don't want to be inside the
just
house
so
and be like,
weird.
what's on the other side of the fucking bushes? I can't see it. Cut those down.
Hi, dear.
Low.
Coming from inside the
Yeah.
house.
Oh, Mama watches too many horror movies for that
No,
kind
that's
of shit.
exactly
Sure,
how I am.
yeah.
That's
That's
why.
like wind chimes. The
I
first time
watch
those
too
wind
much
chimes,
Criminal
I'd be
Minds.
calling a real estate agent. We
Yeah.
got to move. The wind
Criminal
chimes keep going
Minds,
off.
CSI, all of it.
Yeah,
I
Stalker.
watch way too fucking much of that shit.
This coming
not
from
gonna
one of you, he sits in his living room
I know.
on the edge of his table, terrifying himself, self-inflicted terror.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
when you open up those blinds, you can see clearly in 180 degrees. There are no questions whether or not
For
there's
at
somebody
least
out
11
there.
blocks.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I am.
and a searchlight that looks like sunrise.
Well, I don't have trees around my house. Everything, like the one in front of the one window is below the sill. The hedge in
Yeah,
the
as
front
God
is low.
intended.
But kids, that's the same thing, and it's the same thing I have with at my mom's with her carport. I don't want. In fact, I don't know if we've gone back and forth about it. I want to put a motion light or something in that carport.
Sure.
Because I don't like that there's. He has her porch lights on. It casts some light in there, but not enough for me. I want to be able to land a plane in the carport if I need to. 'Cause-
Absolutely. I completely
times.
agree.
So, Mom, I
do
maybe
you fly a plane to your mom's house often?
sometimes
You
I have
don't
to go
know.
quick.
You don't know. It could happen.
Could you play the violin before?
Yeah,
Right. Will I be able to play piano now?
yeah. So, Marina, what'd you do?
Well, I went to, I'm all grown up, but I went to homecoming on Saturday at a high school.
Oh, did you chaperone?
I did. Yeah.
Oh.
That must have
No.
been
That's
terrible.
fun.
It was interesting, actually. It
Yeah.
was really interesting.
Okay.
So
Now, before you, did you go to your own homecomings?
I did.
Okay.
I did, but I had way more fun at this one with my date this time.
Okay.
I mean, it was just so much nicer.
Finger banging under the bleachers. Just guessing.
We
Or was
weren't
that the
under
name of the
bleachers.
band?
The bleachers weren't open, but whatever.
Whatevs.
Behind the bleachers, under the bleachers, it's all semantics.
Similar.
Yeah.
but
Either way,
different.
hidden by bleachers.
Right. Anyway, so we did that, and it was just very interesting to see. It's primarily Mexican culture where Aaron's teaching high school. And so the 3 white kids that were there could not dance. It's proven.
White people just can't dance.
They cannot dance.
They
It
can
was
be
fucking-
Santa. They can
but
do a lot of things,
they're-
but they
you know,
cannot
Yeah.
dance.
You had to see all of the other folks
They
doing
can portray
the
Jesus beautifully.
They had some
Right.
whip and nay going on, and these white people
Whip
are like,
and nay-nay?
these white people are like, I'm gonna try,
Do that.
and I'm not gonna succeed.
The white guy overbite.
Exactly right. Exactly. When
It's a
Harry
dance.
met Sally.
I always call
I
that
love
lesbian elbow dancing.
I love that,
Lesbian elbow dancing. It's what we've
Yes.
all been reduced to.
Absolutely.
That's all I know how to do anymore.
But it was wonderful to watch because the guys that were there dressed so nice. I mean, and first of all their pants were all pulled up rather than that whole hanging.
Yeah.
that's almost over. Believe it or
Thank
not.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I still see that some
Big
places,
shout out
and I
to the
really
Jesus.
did. I thought that was going to be a thing, and it wasn't. They all were dressed so nice, but because of the Mexican culture, seemingly almost all the guys knew how to dance and really dance well
Fun.
because of the culture, right? So whenever any kind of like Latin music came on, where you would set the dances I'm used to. First of all, Selena was over the edge, and then
Too far.
too far,
That's far.
Bitty bitty, back it up.
Bitty bitty back it up.
bitty bitty, no,
Gotta
no.
nay her out of here.
But the guys went out there, and it was hysterical at first because you saw them, they were all like, ugh, walking out, just kind of sulking. And the minute they got on that dance floor, it was, and watching
They thought they
them
were in a
with
gay
their
club?
girls- No, that's the thing. I mean, it was it's the very cultural dance. I'm an idiot.
They like
how to
salsa
say it.
dancing and
Kind of salsa dancing, but like
Yeah.
all of the steps that
Oh.
it's particular dances that go with
Well, almost line dancing to a point.
kind of, yeah, but
no, but
coupled.
there's a
Oh.
difference between a salsa
Yeah.
and a merengue and a
Right,
bachata
right.
and a
I love a good
mambo.
merengue.
I love a good
Tasty.
patata. I don't know what that is.
Oh, meringue.
So-
Never mind. Totally
That's the
different.
thing they're
Totally
doing in the
different.
pavilion on Dirty Dancing.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4. Stomp your feet and stomp some more.
Wow.
It really was. It was just
Verbatim. I could do that
fantastic.
whole
It's
movie.
the best
I'm
dancing
good.
movie about an abortion I've ever seen.
ever, right?
You and me both.
But it was a ton of fun.
Or
The-
best
the
abortion
girls
movie with
About
dancing.
dancing, yeah.
The girls, on the other hand, were whores.
Well,
I'm not joking. I was like, first they were 27-year-old, 15-year-olds.
Oh.
The dresses, the heels. I thought, girls, you are going to kill yourselves. I mean, granted, my chucks were a little high,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they definitely wobbly a little bit, but
That extra insert for comfort
know,
really
totally.
boosted
It-
you up to that 5'5" number.
it
I
was
feel like you and I aren't
scary.
really good representatives for
No, not at
correspondence
all.
on ladies' fashion.
No, but I mean, they were.
We may need to go to a different reporter in the field.
Wait, Aaron, are you?
I
no.
feel like anybody.
But it was startling to see these because I'm again thinking back. Granted, it was 30 years, but whatever. To
Yeah, it's 30
I
years.
don't know. Thinking back to going to homecoming. I mean, nobody was really dressed up like prom and homecoming. Yeah.
Well, because it's hard to
Little
dress up
bit.
around the snowsuits.
That's right, and that's what Aaron and I talked about.
There
It
are
was a little
limitations
colder.
to what you can do
Right.
while still wearing a snowmobile suit.
Some were amazing.
Heels
some were
become
amazing.
almost impractical.
Yeah.
A little awkward.
Well, and on skis.
And you
you
can-
know, they just.
you can only change into so much in the bathroom of the gym.
It's true.
You
It's
can
true.
only-
It's true. It's true. Fair point.
And
Fair
your
point.
fuck me snowshoes
Yeah, exactly.
are hard to find.
Exactly. Well, they call them moon boots. Moon boots. But,
I remember hearing them called that back then, yeah.
The moon boots. But anyway, digress. It was a lot of fun, and my favorite part, and I feel I can confidently report on this, was that in high school there was not the gay couples that were going to be around, right? Like you just really did not see
Oh, no.
30 years ago see that. And I don't know if
or
you
it
even
was-
would have 20 years ago. Like, I'm just saying,
It was usually a
wasn't out.
suspiciously effeminate man and a kind of heavy girl from theater.
Al, would you like to expand on your
And
life
what
in high
was
school?
her name?
There was me in combat boots and a dress.
right.
And
Somebody called
That-
him Klinger. I don't know
that
why.
one guy that you know.
But this was like I honestly at one point had tears in my eyes because there were couples, male, female, like everywhere, and it was and nobody was paying any fucking attention.
That's fantastic.
Nobody cared.
The new normal.
It was the new normal.
Yeah.
And
It was a room
And
full
that
of
is, that
Skittles.
is, that is
it
a
was
really
room
cool
full of
thing.
Skittles. It was wonderful, and Aaron and I were walking around, and here, we're their chaperones, but I'm there as her partner, and we walked around. We were holding hands a little bit. She had her arm kind of in my. It just was, you know, and at first I was like, oh my god, we're gonna
Yeah.
get shot. Wait a minute, what the hell's happening over here?
Yeah, they're
and
doing-
what's going over there?
Right.
Wow, and it was so cool. And I just got a little verklempt. about that. A
Verklempt?
little verklempt.
Wow.
So
That is very
and then
exciting.
Sunday we went to ran into Mr. Perkins. We went to see
Oh, the cabaret.
the cabaret. I had never seen that before. Really, really, really quite amazing.
No, wait, you've never seen it before in person, or you've never even seen it
I've
on
never seen it in
TV,
person.
film?
Right. No,
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen it. I've seen that, but
Okay.
not live. So
And they've taken them many years
it was
and
amazing.
a couple different incarnations to finally get the stage show of Cabaret right. It's one of those ones that was kind of an iffy, misguided attempt that got turned into a really good movie.
okay.
And then they revived it like in the 80s with Joel Grey again and added like one song, but you were still missing a lot of like the bisexuality. You were missing like her choices in the end.
You didn't miss that in this.
Oh no. And,
No.
and then in the 90s.
And the people with the kids.
Oh yeah.
Cabaret's not a child-friendly
Oh,
story.
you're not kidding. But this was.
Oh, I never even thought there'd be children
we saw a family of
And
we saw a
it
family
said
of
don't.
6.
Yeah. It said don't. You know, like adult,
Yeah.
mature content, the whole thing. Oh, it was startling.
Because we were surprised to see a family of. It really was a
Super
family of
risque.
6.
Okay.
Four smaller children, but the oldest one was probably like 12. I'm like, first up, that's a really expensive afternoon
Right.
out.
Yeah.
No matter where
Right.
you're sitting, that's going to turn into some cash. And secondly, like these smaller ones, I mean, it's sexy. There's sex to it. It's a little it's risque in parts. It's that it's terrifying. Like that show.
I would agree with that.
Turns on a dime a couple times where
does.
you go from like, oh, what a cute, oh God, Jesus, like it just turns and
Isn't-
it's so dark.
Isn't this the show where Mama thinks I'm in a
Yeah,
convent?
Mama thinks I'm living in
Yeah.
a convent.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
which is just a little naughty song, but there's nothing. You know, the girls are
When that
scantily
sheet
clad.
went down and the.
Right,
I
but
was
then
like,
the,
how
the-
are you going to explain that to
but
the
it's
little girl in
teaching
front of me?
deception to children.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the birds and the bees, or the bees and the,
The
bees,
bees.
and the birds
Oh,
and the birds.
but
are
somebody's
away.
buzzing.
Yeah,
There's a
'cause
lot of
the-
Somebody's flying.
the two ladies was really one man in drag and another
Uh-huh.
lady, and then there was butt sex
Exactly.
portrayed behind the
Yeah.
curtain.
Oh.
So they take what they
Oh,
did
yeah.
in the movie of Cabaret when they do
And
the dance
somebody
behind the
giving
curtain
him
with
head
shadows of
and-
money,
yeah.
money, money.
Mm.
They do that with two ladies and do the dance,
Oh.
do the dance there. But I just have to say that show.
I thought it was amazing, though.
And I saw it in the 90s, the revival. I saw it on tour, and then I saw it at the actual Studio 54, which is where they moved it once they knew it was going to be a hit. They took the revival, threw it in the old Studio 54, and you sat at tables. And the light on your table would go on when you were in the nightclub part of it. And then when it turned, because there's no change
you've
in
talked
staging,
about this before.
that the lights went down when you were watching the people in the boarding house doing their scenes or at the train station, but nothing on the stage changes from the nightclub to that.
Okay.
But your table lighting would change, and then if you were supposed to be in the cabaret setting watching a number with the MC, then you could get cocktail service. There was cocktail waiters coming around, but as soon as it went to the play part where you were living with the people in the boarding house, then that would go away. So it just kept that sense, and like they stretch when it starts up. The stage is open, and the curtain doesn't close, and the Kit Kat girls and boys are on stage stretching and talking and doing kind of dirty things to each other, but they're basically stretching. And it's the Randy Harrison who was Sunshine. I can't remember what his character's name was.
Justin.
On Queer as Folk
Okay.
was the MC. And just a beautiful turn from kind of a smarmy host, and then as Berlin starts to decay and his makeup starts to decay, and then he comes out and sings that really disturbing song, "Who Cares, So What," where you're watching like the whole thing with the labeling people Jews and the breaking of the windows and the boarding people up, and he's the person on the radio in this horrible drag, just singing in a cracked stage, singing "Who Cares, So What." And then at the end, he kind of turns into the Joker and like does a costume
Right.
change in the last second. That just leaves you like just ice cold. Like you just, and he does this little turn, what starts off as a dance and turns into like, I don't know, reminded me instantly of Matthew Shepard. Like I just it just went so
sure.
grim and so
Oh, sure.
ugly. And it was one turn, no change in makeup. He just went "Aviento," and he just turns, and like I got goosebumps, and like the whole audience was like, oh God, what did we just watch? Like, and it just got so shockingly grim that there was no like polite applause. Like everyone was like, "Oh fuck, what did I just sign up for?"
right,
And you
right.
could just hear the spattering of applause of people like, "I don't know what to do with what you just showed me." Like, I was promised a cabaret, god damn it.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Old chum.
Sure. Yeah. Life
And it-
is a cabaret.
And it really, in that song, and I don't know why, in the movie it doesn't come, and the one thing about the movie that I always say is that if anyone that talented was as talented as Liza Minnelli was, they would get out of Berlin. They wouldn't stay. But because she's not that talented, and she's just not that great, that she's stuck in Berlin. She's not going to make it somewhere else. She doesn't want to go be boring, but she's not talented enough to get out of the city. So when she stands there saying, like, what good is sitting all alone in your room? Like, we know it's falling apart, but we have to find something to do here. Like, we're stuck here. And it just makes that song so desperate for, you know, it's a cabaret. Come to the come here, and by then it's all gone. Like the band is dead. Like it's just so chilling how they get that across when the curtain opens for the last time and there's no more band because like everybody's gone from the
Well, now I'm sold. See, I missed it while it was here because I wasn't going to be able to make it work to go see it at Gamage. But as it turns out, the very next stop on that particular tour is just down the street in Tucson.
Yes, absolutely.
definitely
it is.
don't miss it.
The tickets are so much cheaper down there, so we're gonna go on a Sunday adventure with no kids.
Smart.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go buy them.
And
it's
we were
really
like we were like
great.
toying with it, and I was like,
I mean, it's the innuendo of that dance behind the curtain.
Well, sure.
The songs remain pretty much the same.
well, and it is like to go to Gamage, a family of 4 is expensive, even if you're
yeah.
sitting in the very, very cheap seats where my children will not behave and will probably fall off.
Yeah. To their death.
I have plans to take them to one show because I did buy season tickets, and so I traded.
Finding Neverland.
Yes, I traded my cabaret tickets for Finding Neverland,
I think that'll
so
be
that I can have
brilliant.
4 for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm excited
And good,
about
a
that
good
one.
choice.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one too.
The only other, jumping out of cabaret for a moment, the only other thing that I did this weekend, and for you football people that don't care, That's
I don't.
fine.
I sure don't.
But the Vikings beat the Packers, and that
No.
was on Sunday night, and life was it was
cabaret?
just a cabaret.
Yeah.
It really was. Like it made the weekend complete, and I was pleased.
Because you definitely needed your spirits lifted after that.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely,
That was
yes.
a very quiet walk back to the car. And even the song you want to hum,
Right.
Tomorrow Belongs to Me, is like a pledge to Nazi Germany. And you're like, Fatherland, Father. Like, stop! You're
Stop
singing
it.
a Nazi
Don't do that.
anthem.
Don't do that. Right.
But the tunes are so catchy. It just reminds you of Urinetown. The tunes are so
Sorry,
delightful.
Drew.
But
Sorry about that, Drew. I just it was a delight for me. So
What was that? What was
normally
that
you get
song?
the other.
You just made me think of the song in the '80s that Mel Brooks did. The hit was it called the Nazi rap or the Hitler rap? Remember that?
oh, Springtime for Hitler?
No. There was a song that they did. They actually played on the Top 40 radio. They had a whole video, but I don't think it was from anything he did. I don't know where the song came from.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I'll have to find
The
it.
only thing I know is Springtime for Hitler, which
No,
always,
it's not Springtime for
that
Hitler.
always cracks me up too.
The Hitler rap, To Be or Not to Be, 1984.
Oh yeah, from To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, was it called To Be or Not to Be?
That was the movie.
From To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, okay, got it. But that whole video, I just always thought that was so funny. Come on, Betty,
Yeah.
don't be a smarty. Come on, join the Nazi party.
And that's from the
That's from
the
Springtime
producer-
for Hitler.
Oh.
That's from the producer.
Well, that's that's one of the lines in the
because it's him that says it in every context.
Oh.
And the Sound of Music really kind of that's the show that they have
That's true,
never
Woodsy.
fixed that much to make that. Those are my two favorite examples. Well, Grease is the other one, 3 of shows that were kind of iffy musicals with a couple good songs that got turned into really good movies by revamping all of it. Like in the movie of Cabaret, no one outside of the theater sings. So no character in the movie that's not in the club sings except for Tomorrow Belongs to Me. And in The Sound of Music, the Mother Superior shows up in the beginning, sings a song, and then gets out. All her songs are gone.
Sure.
And, they still escape the wrong way and escape directly into Hitler's backyard.
Right.
Just remember that as you're watching them cross the mountain, that geographically,
Potato.
really bad things are going to
We'll
happen.
see it in April. It'll be fine.
just over the hill. There's Hitler.
That's pretty much what they walk into. It's like, oh, and yes, and the girl, Carmen,
she died.
Carr, what was her name?
Don't recall.
Charmin
Liesel?
And
Liesel
I'm Liesel.
died this weekend, and she was very charming. She was at the Sing Along Sound of Music at the Scottsdale Center for the Arts, and I was afraid to figure out how many years ago that was that Barbara Seville hosted that, and it was so much fun. But she was there, and she talked before the movie, talked afterwards. She met people. Barbara talked about how charming she was at that, and she was just a good time. And it turned into kind of the Rocky Horror Picture Show when we saw it. People were like talking back the movie and talking about how gay poor Kurt, how gay Kurt was.
Yeah.
So we
And does everyone remember that Bootsy has not seen all of The Sound of Music?
I haven't either.
Oh,
I know that, but that doesn't.
That's not
yeah.
surprising.
You know what's funny is I
then,
fall asleep
yeah.
right at the very end of the first VHS tape, and I don't usually make it to the
It
second
takes more
VHS
than
tape.
one
yeah.
tape to watch it.
The Sound of Music on VHS, yeah, there's
Well,
two tapes.
yeah, those 60s musicals.
That's how I had it as a kid. We had the VHS, and it was a 2-tape.
As long as you make it to Do Re Mi.
Oh,
then
clearly, yeah.
That's just one
I've
of the
got
great.
The Lonely Goat Herd. I got What Do You Do with a Problem Called Maria. I got Sound of Music. I got Favorite Things.
Oh, you're covered.
I got 16 going on 17. Like all of that is in the first.
And somewhere in my youth or childhood. It's the same word, Rodgers and Hammerstein. 2 hours more and get that. Let's see. I love that song, but it always cracks. Somewhere in my youth or childhood. No, okay. Work that out. It's kind of like they
They're
work from
called
8 to 4 in
synonyms.
Copacabana. I don't need the hours that these two work. You're telling a fantastic story, and now I got their time card in my hand. Where did this song go wrong? So,
God damn. So if it had been Rogers, Hammerstein, and Perkins, we'd have been fine.
yes, we would have. You had a whole month in tryouts out of town to fix that shit. That's what they're for. So, well, we did it. It was work. But in between, I slept, woke up, and did a wake and bake at the French Grocery with Doug Wilkie and Tiffany and Danielle and Tiffany's boyfriend Michael. Tiffany and Danielle are the two crazy drunks that I travel with sometime in the late summer, early
We enjoy
fall.
them.
So we go to the French Grocery and we get there at 5 o'clock to catch the hour of happy hour, where we're just gonna have the small plates happy hour and some happy hour wines. We left 6 hours later.
Right, 11
Oh
hours
my.
later.
We like 6 small plates that were on the special, a charcuterie board that went on for about a week and a half, and then 5 entrees. We lost count of the bottles of wine. They had a good night at the French Grocery because they dropped a pretty big check on us.
Oh, good.
They dropped a bomb on us, but it was such a delight. So if you live here locally, the French Grocery is so much fun, and the food is so delicious, and it was just so nice to do that French style of. And I told Willie, our waiter, a friend of mine that lives nearby, and I'm like, we're gonna be here a while. Like when this crowd starts chatting,
They never
and
leave.
sure enough, they close at 10. I didn't get home till well after 11. So. God only knows how they bribed. It had to be a bribe to get us out of there by the time it was. They must have let us outside with a bottle of wine.
Right.
I don't remember a lot of
They
getting
were
home.
probably putting chairs up around you.
I just remember thinking, God, it's exhausting riding my bike. And I may have taken a little nap on a corner.
Wow.
But I had to be up the next morning for Cabaret, for the early matinee of Cabaret. And then I was supposed to work Sunday night. There was a chance they needed me, and oh my God, we were doing sacrifices all over the house.
Oh.
And they called it like 5:45, like, we don't need you tonight. I'm like, praise Buddha, cannot make it. Clayton,
My
don't
lists
know how
always
you
seem
know
to pale in comparison to you, so I'm going to try.
I made a 5-minute trip to the grocery store. My store. You can do it.
I can do it because I got 4 things.
Look at you. 4 things.
4 things. I'm not trying to outdo your segment. Your
No,
new segment.
number one, go
2
ahead.
things. No. Unbeknownst to me, because I didn't know I wanted it or needed it, it just showed up. I have the new iPhone 7,
Oh,
Which-
muscle
oh wow,
top.
I need
which
to see
was
it.
well, it's right here. There it is. There, it's right there.
Ooh, it's black.
Because it's our.
And this is not the super deluxe. This is the.
Oh, it's just a regular white
this is a
white
case
man's-
that you bought with
it's
it?
just a little. It is an Apple case. It's just a little cover for the deal, but it's just a regular Apple 7 phone. The processor is 40% faster. It's fine. The best part, and you'll like this, even though you don't like the smaller speakers. First phone with stereo speakers, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
has for at the bottom and at the top. It makes a noticeable difference in just listening to music from the phone.
And your headphones have to plug into this.
Right, but it does come with the dong little adapter piece that goes from headphone to that. It's obviously you're skewing more because mostly I listen to by Bluetooth headphones. So
Right.
they're wireless because I spend too much time doing computers and doing work, and I'm always jerking my fucking headphones right out of my head. The phone goes flying. I'm like, we're not going to do that anymore. So wireless is much better.
Which I think we're all going to have to learn.
Oh, we're gonna all have to learn it.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Amina who put the thing on the Facebooks about the guy doing his rant about the new
AirPods.
the new
Right.
AirPods, and then being just able to walk up and rip them out of your head, or you can just conveniently hand them to the robber. It was, if you get a chance, find that guy's YouTube, or Ramin, if you can provide that link. That was so funny.
But it was interesting as a surprise. I didn't ask for it. It's just part of our business account, and when they release new shit, we get it, and there it is.
I'm going to admire them tomorrow. and
You've
make a choice.
I've mentioned it before. I leave Friday morning for Cisco for 4 days, which will be interesting and fun. I've already started my research on the festival that
Good.
you threw at me last week at the end of the show.
He has
work,
homework,
good
ladies
work.
and gentlemen.
So I'll research more about that. But the cool thing is, I just signed up yesterday. It just came a message to our group that's going. We're doing a history tour. 2:00 on Friday when we get there.
That'd be awesome.
We meet on some corner in Castro, a whole group of us, and then it's apparently a couple hours, and they walk you through whatever, and you see a bunch of things, which I'm very excited about seeing. I think it'd be very cool.
And you've been to the city before? You've not
I've
been to
never
the city?
been to Cisco.
Hills. I was going to say heels.
No,
Don't
no.
wear heels because
No.
it's all hills.
Well, right, but they actually the tour that we're on, they say that there are no great hills on this tour. But yeah, no, I realize everywhere else we're going to go, I'm sure uphill,
In
downhill.
Castro, there are some hills.
Yeah, the Castro is a hill.
Yeah.
The tour, for whatever reason, I'm just telling you
No,
what's on
no,
the
yeah, I
goddamn website.
Honey, and
I'm
all we're
taking
saying-
Are
tennis
the
shoes.
hills alive?
Yeah.
With the sound of music.
No, they are.
I'm
There's
sure they
gays
will be.
everywhere. That shit's singing up and down the street.
I'm sure they will.
Anyway,
be.
I think you'll love it.
So,
You'll probably make it in time for Liesel's memorial.
well, it could be. Who knows? Yes, of course, Bootsy. That's also happening as well. But overall, it was just a good excuse to go to Cisco for the first time. And for me, it's economically because there's 12 of us at some Airbnb. He's rented a house, my friend Sam. So we're all renting this huge house.
nice.
So I mean, it's cost me $240 for 3 nights
Yeah.
in Cisco. That's pretty cheap, as I understand it.
Extremely cheap.
So happy with that. Leave on Friday. One of the I've talked about this, and I am surprised, and the staff at Massage Envy, the place locally, they know how vocal I am and how many swear words I know, because they've asked me multiple times when I've left of late, "You okay?
Well, yeah.
You okay?" Because I just walked by. I didn't know what was going on. Wow. But I'm learning a hell of a lot, and I'm being told that I have a very high tolerance for pain.
Okay.
Because I didn't know you could hurt like this.
Oh.
But the progress is what's astounding to me. I had no idea somebody of my tender age could have muscle issues that were that fucked up, and it takes this many screaming, painful sessions to get through it. But all of a sudden, my arms don't tingle. Like everything's. It's funny how stuff moves now.
It's lovely.
I can almost play the violin.
Oh. I was assaulted today at my doctor's office.
But-
Speaking of,
For what?
I don't know. I'm still not sure. I have a.
Was it your doctor?
No.
Did you have an appointment?
I did have an appointment, and they brought me out to get your sign out for your appointment again in 6 months or a year, hopefully a year, because that guy, I feel like we're dating. I see him so fucking much. And this attractive man comes up to
Maybe
me
you
and
should
he's
buy
like,
drinks.
Mr. Perkins, do you want to? He's like, follow me, and I was like, why? And he's like, oh, just gonna do a nerve check, and I was like, well, I was kind of here because
Well,
of a
you're
new
on my
sleep-
nerves.
Yeah, I'm kind of here for a new sleep medication, so. Okay, maybe my doctor just didn't mention that there was something they wanted to test. Like maybe I'm not sleeping because of some
Chemical
nerve
imbalance.
pain,
Sure.
nerve pain
Oh,
or
okay.
something like that I wasn't sure of. So he takes me into a room and he starts asking me all these questions about numbness in my hands and feet and numbness in my legs, and do I have any shooting pains down my lower back into my buttocks? And I was like, no.
My
But I was like,
buttocks.
why? What's this about? He's like, well, we're just gonna do a little nerve testing on you. And I'm like, okay, why? He's like, I was gonna make sure you don't have carpal tunnel. He's like, I'm just gonna put some of these things on your hand. He's like, and
I'm
it'll,
suspicious.
He's like, it'll be a pinch. Well, I do this to patients that we paralyze with medications to make sure that they're really paralyzed. We test their nerves to
With
see
a
if they
hammer?
twitch. Pretty much. But when I teach people to do it at a very low dose because it hurts. Well, this guy puts 3 electrodes on my hand, and then he zaps it, and it causes my whole hand to go, and it fucking hurt. Plus, I was exhausted, tired.
Sure.
So that's the last thing you want is to follow someone in a strange room and be put in pain. So I'm playing left. I'm like, who are you, and why are you
Right.
doing this? He's like, well, don't you care about carpal tunnel? I'm like, I don't have carpal tunnel. I don't do anything that causes carpal tunnel. I'm not at risk for why did you bring me back here and do this to me? And he's like, oh, he's like, are you saying you refuse this? Yes, I refuse it. Who are you? Why did you
Right.
just do that to me? That fucking hurt. I'm like, I do that to people, and I teach them how to do it correctly, so it isn't painful. If you want to see my muscle snap, you can do that at a much lower voltage. What did you just do that for? And he was like, oh, well, go, your paperwork's up front. Just go. And I was like,
Oh!
so I
Did
go
you
up
slap
front.
him on the way out?
No, so I go up front, and then they never
How
called my
dare
paperwork.
you.
So I waited for like 3 or 4 people got checked out, and I was still waiting there. So I just got up and left and called their office manager. I'm like, who is this guy? What is he doing? Are you like letting some kind of a representative? Is he like going to sell me some kind of
Tins
medicine?
unit?
Did some like representative just do this to me without like my consent? Like he never said what he was going to do. The only reason I knew what it was is because I use that machine where I work.
Right.
And I teach people how to use it correctly, and he did not use that correctly. So I was very upset by that, and it fucking hurt when I was that tired. And I walked out of there, I'm like, well, now I just had a really shitty day. Like, I got up too early, I've been at work
Well,
all
what
day.
was the feedback from the office manager?
No, they didn't come back. Or that's the message on here that I didn't listen to.
Oh, I thought you got them live and you were giving them
No,
an earful.
as soon as I started complaining, they're like, oh, we're going to put you through the office manager, and it went right to, like, a voicemail. So, but I'm getting all worked up just thinking about it. I was so pissed off.
Yeah, for real.
It's a
Well, the
lot.
last thing on my list is not going to make you feel any better.
Did you attack someone in a doctor's office?
Were you at a doctor's office?
No,
like,
no.
doing something about
I just,
carpal tunnel?
I had to go to a client this morning because an update that I did overnight didn't go as well as planned. So I had to go on property to make sure that their system was up and running. And I'm sitting there because obviously I go to restaurants and bars, and it was before they even opened, and they're getting all ready and whatnot. And the bartender was behind the bar getting everything ready, and she's of right around my age. And song came on, and I said, "You want to feel a little older?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "How old's this song?" And she goes, "I don't know, 15, I don't know, 10, 15. Try 36 years old." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, 1980. Don't stand so close to me. Police. And she's like, "Oh my God." She's just totally, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're old." She's like, "Well, thanks for reminding me." So that said you were going to feel better.
Terrible.
It's all right.
I know that's from the roller skating days.
But I just think it's so funny when I hear those songs. And then the other thing, somebody posted on Facebook the other day, it's like, when you think back, probably not for you, Kat, but for me still,
I'm only.
if somebody
I'm only
says,
22
well, it was like
years old,
30
I
years
don't know.
ago, to me, I think it's still 1975.
Right.
30 years ago to me is the mid-70s. But it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I like when somebody says something and
with you
I
there.
do the math of like, that's closer than World War II is when that song was out.
Yeah.
Like, Bad Girls to World War II is closer than Bad Girls is to now.
Yeah.
Like, that's when it starts to put in perspective. Like, what was 36 years ago? Oh my God, we're in the middle of fucking World War II. Like, America's Greatest Generation.
Yes.
Well, we killed that hour.
We certainly did.
So, our thing is not shaking. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Now I see
Occasionally.
it.
Occasionally.
It's the wind that he keeps on in here. But you guys were in some kind of a herky-jerky movement
Oh,
a
were
minute
we?
ago.
Technicals.
That looked
They're everywhere.
It looked like you were robots.
I kept looking. I'm like, wait, what? What?
No, it's all right.
It stopped, but it was funny. It was funny. Now it's not.
We'll get through it somehow.
Not anymore.
Somehow we'll get it. All right. Well, we burned through. She loves to play with that fucking camp. Look at that. It's like an. It's like we're in. All of a sudden we're in Oklahoma.
Earthquake.
I just want the right. The right response.
Good God. I think that's a suitable response. We'll be right back with. We've got headlines and drinking words and jocularity everywhere. Stand by. It's Q Talk America.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
If you think it sucked so far, just wait till after this 30-second dance break.
Well, the squirrels are back in the attic. Your dad won't call an exterminator. He says it's personal this time. Where are you? It's very loud there. Are you taking a Zumba class?
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
And now, a drink along. We dare you to stay awake during this royalty-free music and to play a drinking game with us. If you are currently or soon to be driving a car, you cannot play. If you are presently the primary caregiver for children and or the elderly, you may desperately want to play, but no. If you are listening from a rehab facility, you are disqualified because you already hit bottom. And that means you already won this game at least once. If playing this game is in any way illegal for you, put the bottle down and make better life choices. There is no good in your goodbye, and there is no lifeguard on duty, so you will be swimming at your own risk. Tell your lawyer to take the fucking day off. You can't sue us. We warned you. Good luck. Well, you just have to make it a cabaret.
Old chum.
Oh, yeah.
Mama thinks I'm living in a convent.
Sure, she did at one point. I'm sure she did. No, you don't think so?
I'm pretty sure no.
You pretty sure no? No, you never know. I was maybe she was hopeful.
You know, I used to downplay the level of shit that I used to live in. Mm-hmm. Kind of downplay that a little bit. It's got charm and character. It's a historic house with no heat.
Yeah. Doesn't have a shower. We all have
It's
to bathe.
kind of like a convent. A lot of girls live here. Or a sorority. Special kind of sorority.
There was a house that I lived in for like 9 months back in the 80s when I was as poor could be and didn't have a shower. So everyone had to take a bath.
Oh.
Ew.
And oh my God, I used to have to wash the tub every day because the people I lived with were
Gross.
kind of.
Yeah.
People are gross.
Well, that really makes it a cabaret, doesn't it? Holy crap. Here we go, boys and girls. It's going to be a little bit of a headline extravaganza. It's Q Talk America. It's Tuesday night, the 20th of September, and here we go. A cafeteria worker quits due to lunch shaming.
Little Miss Flint.
Be careful what you request in a hotel.
Those are some nice balls.
Don't call me, maybe.
27 best reactions to Skittles.
Don't change a diaper in Arizona.
And something else.
And Sarah Palin was on blank. These and other stories coming right now as soon as Marnie figures out what else she's going to use. She's got a backlog of stories.
I just saw she sold her house here.
Yes, she did.
Good.
She did. She for 2.5 million or 2.7 million.
I didn't buy it.
No, I realized you didn't buy it.
I bid on it, but I didn't buy
I
it.
realized
She
that.
said she couldn't make change.
She
you
said
break
she
it?
didn't know how to count.
Can you break a $3
That was
million
totally
bill?
different.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, sad.
Got it.
What else had to buy?
Well, I brought this up because I knew that you all three would have something to comment on this, and for one reason is because you have two kids that currently go to school.
I do.
A school cafeteria worker has quit over what she considers a lunch shaming policy in a Pennsylvania school district. Stacy Kalitzka resigned last week from Wylandville Elementary School in Cannon McMillan School District after she had to take a hot lunch away from an elementary school student because the child's parents had fallen more than $25 behind in paying for his school lunches. She says, quote, his eyes welled up with tears. I'll never forget his name or the look on his face. The Cannon McMillan School District enacted the policy this year to deal with a backlog of some 300 families who owed tens of thousands of dollars in back school lunch money. Students from kindergarten through 6th grade will lose their hot lunch privilege, but be allowed to charge a cold sandwich, fruit, and milk to their meal accounts if their parents owe more than $25. Now, older students get no lunch at all if parents owe more than $25. District Superintendent Matthew Daniels said the policy has cut down drastically on parents who don't keep current on the lunch accounts for their children. It isn't meant to embarrass anyone. The policy doesn't target those who qualify for financial assistance with school lunches, but it is meant to make sure that the parents who have the ability to pay stay current. Now, I just can't even imagine.
So hard.
I can't imagine as anybody, whether you are a child lover or not, if you're a parent or not, how the hell do you walk up to a kid
And take a meal away.
away from them?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. Now, I get it if you said you can't have a cookie and they stole a cookie, I get that. But you're in the middle of a lunchroom and you're going to walk up and take little Johnny's hot lunch and he's going to cry. I just can't even imagine that. So
I would quit my job too if you're gonna make me take lunch away
To
from
shame
kids.
children,
I'm
yeah.
fucking out of here.
There's got to be a better way to do that. Now the story does go that the lunch worker didn't realize, like the child had been given the hot lunch instead of the cold sandwich.
Right.
And somebody in the administration, because she didn't realize that the child should not have been given a hot lunch, made her go and take the lunch away from the
No,
child.
you suck it up and
Right.
Yeah.
fucking fire me.
No.
Let the kid have fucking lunch.
He's gonna eat what we gave him, and tomorrow we'll swap it out.
Right, we'll
for the
deal with this
sandwich.
later, but I'm
Right.
not going to walk out and embarrass him in front of all. 'Cause I just can't even imagine that.
No.
I mean, there's enough going on in school districts where the kids are, or, they don't have the right
and
shirt or haircut.
if it's a school
or,
district that has that big of a problem of people paying, it's clearly not a wealthy school district. You know what I mean?
Right, probably
Like
not.
it's
But they said that the monies have come down, the amount owed has come down drastically since they've implemented this. But I just was astounded that that story is a real story.
There's an old SNL fake commercial, and it was one of these. It was one of those ones with like the guy with the Folgers commercials. Like, we've secretly substituting the fancy coffee at this restaurant for Folgers instant coffee. But what they did was, like, the first one was, we've secretly taken their utensils away and replaced their dessert fork with a scalding hot 500-degree fork. And you see all the people screaming.
Right.
And then in the restaurant, and then they do, we've brought these children together, and you can Google this. It's on YouTube. We brought these kids together, and we've told them that we're taking their toys away and giving them to children whose parents love them. And it's this skit of them like
terrible.
wrestling for toys out of children's hands, and the children's like throwing themselves against the wall, screaming
me
and
that.
crying. You don't know what's acting and what they really did, because they didn't char off the people's mouth with a 500-degree fork.
right.
But it just reminds me of that level of cruelty of, like, we're just gonna play some shitty joke and make an adult like shame a child. Like, call the parents at
Yeah.
home. If you gotta get the money, you gotta get the money. Schools clearly don't have monies because we have to fight wars.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not in disagreement. And with what John Jay says as far as like the school reform kind of thing. I mean, something needs to be done, but that kind of stuff has been said forever, and I think all we do is say something needs to be done.
Right.
And we never are able to
At
come
what point
up with
do we
or an
start
agreement.
doing a something?
Right, because
Right.
of allegedly
And
here in
that's the difficult
Arizona,
part.
the reason that we got the lotto was going to make our schools rich beyond reason, and no
Sure.
child was ever going to have anything. But what they did was they took away all the other money and
Yeah.
left, and you know what I mean, like
Well, and
year by year.
don't get started on Arizona and school politics, because there have been a series of measures made to provide money to the schools, and our state legislature, in all of their wisdom and all of the kooks and the housewives. No offense to housewives, I understand it's a hard job, but maybe not all of you belong in politics. You know what I mean? Like all of the Looney Tunes. If you go down the roster of the Arizona state legislature and the Looney Tunes that we've elected,
oh yeah.
and they're in charge of this, and so there have been voter initiatives that have given money to the schools, to the school system, that the legislature just goes, yeah, we don't want to, and now the governor goes, yeah,
Well,
whatever.
What's a school
Who
going to
cares?
do with money?
Douchey.
Right. What are they
How
going
about-
to do?
How about what
Prop
Nero-
123 just recently passed. No money. What's the next step? When does the money come?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, Nero said that that's the one reason that they pay taxes in our country. So kids have a free lunch in school all the way through high school. That would be phenomenal.
Right, which is what we pay enough taxes for. Just that our taxes
think
go to
that we
build
would.
bombers that have been
Oh,
obsolete,
absolutely.
and no one wants. Like,
Right.
our money gets diverted into war programs on the regular
It's ridiculous.
for
It's
stuff
just-
that no one wants. Like, there's billions of dollars being spent on an airplane that's going right into a junk pile, but we have children having hot lunches taken away from them. It's
well,
just
and
so
when
ridiculous.
the kids, they talk about in general, us that every person needs to kind of start out their day with a meal and whatnot, getting your mind nourished
Yeah.
in a way. So where Aaron worked last year, there were some free lunches, and there were some kids that would get free lunch.
and then there's
free
the kids in the
breakfast.
middle that their parents make
Right.
just
Just
that little bit too much, not get it
fall
for
through the
free,
cracks.
but then they don't have enough money to really that they're living in poverty, but they're just
Right.
above the poverty, that
Right.
arbitrary line.
And some of those that were with that arbitrary line didn't have a home.
Yeah.
So you have people that aren't eating, and then we sit there and you watch that domino effect of, hey, why are we such a But I mean, people look and say, why are we such a stupid nation now? Why are kids failing? Why are they falling so far behind
Because
other
you're going
countries?
to school hungry, you're going to school with no sense of security, you don't know where you
Absolutely.
live.
you're tired as hell because you
Yeah.
don't live anywhere necessarily, and it really is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Just ridiculous. So
and I love it when it's people with children that are passing laws or helping keep laws enforced that punish children with punitive damages for children. It kills me because it's not their kids.
Well, it's like
So
Right.
fuck the rest of them. My kids are fine.
it's like men making decisions about women's reproductive
You're
system.
right.
Like, really? Pence,
No,
get out of there.
no, it's women making decisions about other women's bodies and not understanding what's wrong with, you know what I mean? Men always do that shit. But
Right.
if you have kids and you're making
Right.
shitty decisions about kids,
Because it doesn't
No,
matter
you-
because my kids go to this private
Yeah.
school. My kids are fine.
yeah.
yeah.
Fuck your kids,
They're
but
exempt
my
from
kids
all.
are fine.
Yeah.
No,
exempt
we
from the
need-
laws that I'm creating.
And what was I reading today? I read a lot of things today. I was on the internet a lot. I was reading something today about I think it was a Facebook post, but something to the effect of like at some point we have to get out of us versus them
Oh,
Yeah.
and realize that we're all us.
right. And you always have to be careful if you're in some kind of an us versus them, because it's going to turn around one day and you're going to be a
Right.
them, and there's not going to be anybody
Correct.
standing with you. So you
correct.
always have to be worried. Like all these people now, they're like with Trump because, well, you know, he's right. It's them. It's them. It's them.
Right.
Just wait. He's going to turn
Right.
on you.
These refugees could very easily be us.
Being refugees from a
That's
war-torn
You know what I
exactly
mean?
country.
right.
Like a smart enough Branch Davidian gets his hands on enough ammunition, and now we're the refugees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or if our banking system
really-
fails, or our
Right, a really like ultra rich, out of touch, homophobic, racist white guy gets into power, and
That's
guess
weird.
what?
I don't think
we're
that can happen.
Suddenly,
Cabaret.
we're suddenly the refugees. Like
Yeah.
it's not that far away, and it's not that outside the realm of possibility.
No, it's not.
Our country's very, very young by comparison to a lot of places, and still struggling
Yep.
to
Right.
figure our shit out.
yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. I completely agree.
Ah.
And that's where it's the younger people of this world that really need to be able to vote. And I'm talking about like maybe 9-year-olds. So a 9-year-old.
What's a hot button issue with a 9-year-old
Yeah.
aside from a school lunch?
I'm taking my hot lunch away.
A 9-year-old named Mari Kopeny from Flint, Michigan. She's currently serving as Little Miss Flint. I know, delightful, right? I was Little Miss West St. Paul.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I could prove it. I have pictures, and I still have the crown. Let's not talk about it.
You brought it up.
You
Wow.
brought it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I?
Now I got
did not, did
shamed
I?
into a discussion you led me
Oh,
into.
Well, okay. Maybe I'll show you
I
later.
didn't say a word yet.
Maybe I'll show you later. I don't know. Anyway, so last May she participated in a historic visit to Flint from President Obama after she wrote him a letter about what she was doing to bring attention to Flint's water crisis. And she was hugging Obama and she was smiling. She was so excited to meet him. And there was a tweet that went out, history made, Little Miss Flint, POTUS, the water crisis. It was just the sweetest picture. Well, then
I don't have that, but I do have. She's an adorable little girl.
she is a beautiful little girl. There's Little
Oh,
Miss
look
Flint.
at that.
Yes. Well,
She looks just like you.
today a lot. I know, except for the crown.
Look
I
at
told
that
you I still
smile.
have the crown.
No, she's cute.
Today, the Trump campaign decided to go to Flint. This would have been
Couple
just
days
a
ago.
couple days ago.
Right.
And he also met with the 9-year-old darling. And here's their photo
Well,
together.
I
Do
gotta
you have that
well,
one?
hang on. I need to find both of them. I need.
Because this is the one, just so that you can see, of her with
Oh, I have.
with
Hang on.
Trump. Or with, I'm sorry, with Obama.
With
she
Obama.
was so excited.
Yeah,
She's
I've
right.
seen them.
No. She was so excited. And then she
Oh, this one.
met
I'll
Donald.
I'll do this because I think she's terrified.
Yeah, she's fucking horrified.
Terrified.
She's just
Who's the
horrified.
big white orange
Who's
man?
that guy? Who's that guy?
She's what color is that?
The look
Why
on
is
Little
Cheeto
Miss
Jesus touching me?
Yes. The look on Little Miss Flint's
Cheeto
face
Jesus.
perfectly encapsulating the American electorate 2016.
Every week it's funny. Dude.
So Twitter then was quick to jump on how utterly horrified that she looks. And in using that picture over and over, when the Night's King touches you and you realize you're now marked.
The Knights King. That's delightful.
I've seen kidnapping photos where the victim is holding up today's newspaper that were less alarming.
Proof of life videos
Right.
that had more
there
warmth.
was a picture with.
She's
a
really wanting to
little-
get to a cabaret.
I know, right? There's a picture of Trump with Little Miss Flint that was up there, and then there is a picture of Saddam Hussein with a little boy that the British little boy that he had actually taken hostage. Little Miss Flint looks more terrified of Trump than the British boy Saddam held hostage. They had the two photos. This little girl wishes she was somewhere less scary, like in a dark room with a clown holding a machete.
Like, and you look at that little face. There's the terror. Like,
Yeah.
the fuck am I
and,
doing
and
here?
keep that,
That
right
is literally
there. Keep that
Audra
right there for
McDonald
me.
in Lady
Yeah.
Day at the Emerson.
Because
Oh, that was
if,
so
if
good. I
you
need to watch
notice,
that
if you
again.
notice where Trump is holding her hand,
by the,
seemingly
like,
it says
by the wrist. Like,
photo of Donald Trump breaking the wrist of Little Miss Flint.
Jeez.
I'm terrified for this little girl.
I know, right?
Give her a hot lunch.
Little Miss Flint is America right now. I need an adult.
She does.
The general
She
consensus.
looks a little concerned.
The general consensus was that Mari is the face of what many voters are
Oh.
thinking. So much so that she should be allowed to vote.
The other thing that I notice is he's not even on the same side of the little barrier as her.
no.
See the little strap that's going between
Segregation. Segregation.
He's been roped off for your comfort and safety.
Please don't bring the black child on this side.
Oh no, she's probably thinking like I didn't tap the
right.
glass. I didn't tap the glass. I
didn't
did what I
do
was
it.
told.
He walks away going, is there any on me? Is it
I
on
did
me?
not tease the animal or do anything, and he still came over and grabbed me by the wrist. That big fucking baboon just came over and attacked that lovely black child.
I do though. She is, and there's
She's
the
adorable
crown.
little girl.
She really
Look
is
at that
a beautiful
$1 million
little girl.
smile, Al. You said that.
99% of the time
Right?
happy. And when
Adorable.
And then that one time with the orange guy.
She actually opted to drink the water in Flint rather than to have him
She
touch her
preferred
again.
the orange water to the
Show me on
orange
the
guy.
show me on the water bottle where the orange man touched you. I was almost home, Mrs. Garrett. I was almost home.
Poor little Miss Flint.
I know she's scarred.
Oh, she probably is.
She
and
is.
then there was
Poor
the
little thing.
he spoke at a
Oh.
Cheeto Jesus spoke at a church.
Yes.
Yes, that was fantastic.
was
And they
fantastic.
shut him up.
Oh, yeah.
because he
I saw
started
that
to like
one.
rail on Hillary and,
Yep.
and she the pastor or I think she was the
She was the
pastor.
pastor.
She was the
Yes.
pastor, yeah.
She walked out and tapped him on the shoulder and was like, that's
No.
not what we're here for.
No political. We said no political.
She basically said, not today, Satan.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
Not
she
today.
said she was kind.
She was kind,
very,
but he was so flustered when
was.
she shut him down.
And they did such a big thing about that because I saw it on CNN, I saw it on
yeah, I was
MSN, that he, because when someone does get in his face, or
He backs
even
down.
without being, because she certainly was
Not confrontational.
yeah.
Oh no,
Very
she
polite.
wasn't. She touched his wrist similar to what he. Well, actually, a little
Yeah.
more less hostile than what he did with Little Miss Flint there.
Right.
But she walked out and said, "You came here to talk about thanking us for what we've been through with the water, not talk about not a political campaign."
And he was like, "Oh,
Well, alrighty then.
Well,
Well, alrighty.
yes.
Oh, and
If
he
I
was-
can't blame this on Hillary, then why am I here?
Right.
Right, exactly.
Because she did I can't say her. Oh,
And I was so surprised that actually the water that was behind him in that shot, I thought for sure it was going to all be fucking Trump labeled water bottles. I thought
right.
for sure it was.
sure.
But no, he just brings Play-Doh to water people.
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
he
That's
goes
all
to-
you need.
He goes to places where there's big tragic events and he hands out Play-Doh.
Build a water tower out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Good
lovely.
for you.
Gotta
God,
believe
look
it.
at you. Look at the good you do.
Oh, well, how
They
many?
hadn't suffered enough.
I know, right.
I
Trump
know
showed up.
we all
Stuff on the
travel.
Play-Doh.
We all travel. We go different places, and sometimes when you go to different hotels or different things, you make requests like what would you like special in your room? Maybe you're looking for a special sized bed or
Extra pillows. I
extra
always need
pillows,
extra
towels.
pillows.
You need extra towels,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe you want a certain if you're fancy, like if you've got a contract and you're like a big hoity-toity artist, you can specify Skittles,
Right.
water.
Only the non-immigrant Skittles, please.
Right.
Yeah, please.
Well, Seth Freeland reserved a room at the Huntley Hotel in Santa Monica, California. He made one little teeny-weeny request. He wanted the room filled with Jeff Goldblum photos.
Oh.
Now, why you ask Jeff Goldblum, a Jurassic
Why not?
Why
Park
not?
star?
Right.
Sounds like a good time.
Well,
to
Jeff
me.
Goldblum, he says, is my girlfriend's celebrity crush. He told the Huffington Post by email. Specifically, she's a big fan of Independence Day. Goldblum. He himself is more of a big Chill Goldblum fan, but Anyway, he's a speechwriter at Nike, and he was half joking when he made the bizarre request. He says, "I'd like a few framed photos of Jeff Goldblum in the room." Well, he didn't really think the hotel was going to take him seriously.
I hope they
But
went nuts with it.
When he and his girlfriend, Amy Marsh, checked into the room on Saturday, they saw it was blooming with Goldblum pics. And I have a few to show you. So what they did was they started out, if you go in the bathroom, there he is, framed in the bathroom.
That's a lovely photo.
Oh, hi, Jeff.
Right by the phone in the middle of the room, there was this one of Mr. Goldblum in a framed picture.
Oh, my.
Another one over here by the other.
Topless.
I guess there was a desk in their place right there.
No.
And then here is the excited girlfriend holding actually one of the pictures in the room.
And that's from his fly days when he was kind of hot and went
Yes,
shirtless all
yes.
the time.
He says there was a moment of
Kind of a
nervousness.
George Clooney look about him right
He
there.
said there was a moment of nervousness on my end when we checked in. He said the front desk clerk understandably didn't know what that was a surprise that he had made me sign a little receipt for all of the frames. He gave me a quizzical look and mumbled something about hotels these days sure have weird fees. David Cohen, the front desk manager at the Huntley Hotel, admits he doesn't normally get requests for Jeff Goldblum photos. He says, "We thought it was cheeky, but we get specific requests all the time, such as someone who wants green apples instead of red or wants the furniture covered a certain way or not." He says, "We said to ourselves, we can't
pass that
can't
up.
pass this opportunity." The downside of such
Smart.
excellent customer service is that the Huntley Hotel is now probably running low on photos of Jeff Goldblum.
They've absconded. They thought life is a cabaret. Let's give it to her.
I like it. Very good.
Oh, I thought that was so cute.
That's fantastic. We all deal with stress in different ways.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I just sent you a little bit more updated kind of article
Of which one?
of sometimes it's just good to play with balls.
Oh,
You know?
well, hang on. I got that.
Sometimes it's just
Apparently, I
good.
also have a stuttering problem.
Well,
Would
We
you
weren't-
mind
we weren't gonna bring it
that
up.
right. I got that right there. Right there. I said.
playing the part
We were told not to talk about it.
playing the part of Bob Newhart is cool. Thank you very much.
So there was this company that made nice balls to help you relieve your stress at work, and I think it's interesting from a lesbian perspective, certainly, but just in general.
No, I feel like I've seen this before.
Oh, it just hit
we
the
do
music and
this?
this. No,
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So
I read too much internet.
wait. Watch the video. It comes about. It loops.
So
There's this. Woo, woo, woo.
Imagine Art.
So wrong. But so
And
right.
yet, Imagine Art, the communications agency, has developed a prosthetic accessory that makes it possible to relieve your stress. Nice balls. Holidays are the perfect excuse for doing the things that daily life normally gets in the way of. Going to the same beach every year, cremating steaks on the Barbie, taking up trekking
Cremating?
without having a clue what that is.
Not everyone's a fine cook.
Watching a 9-hour monster session of that series you read the spoilers of months ago, or simply sitting around playing with your balls. It doesn't matter whether you have them or not. There are moments when we all, men and women alike, just need to play with our balls. So what's the problem? Returning to work after our much needed holiday invariably means we haven't got the time for that. It doesn't matter. You have to find the time, really. That's why Imagine Art decided to create a galactic solution to the problem shared by millions of people by collaborating with one of the special effects engineers for the Oscar-winning Gravity.
The picture of the balls under the counter. It's just not right.
So the result of this collaboration is Nice Balls, a dangling prosthetic accessory that sticks easily, discreetly, and efficiently to your desk.
Discreetly, it does not. That shot of the fucking office, which is coming right there. How is that discreet?
I feel like I need these.
I know, right?
And here's
we need
why.
I think we need to get them for underneath here, but that'd be weird.
I feel like I need them for the bar as like a cautionary tale.
Okay.
Don't fuck with me, fellas. Look what I can do.
That's right. I got balls. I got balls.
You want to see me squeeze these? You want them to be yours? Sit
Right?
the fuck down.
Well, the
Yeah, clearly we are misunderstanding what
It's-
soothing means when you're watching somebody.
I'm not in it for the soothing factor.
So
I'm
its
sorry.
suspension rate creates a curve that encourages relaxation, and and provides the few moments of escapism that we all need once in a while. It doesn't matter. It says the moments when we all just need to play with our balls. And as you saw, you can do this. And I don't think it's just for a desk anymore. I firmly believe that you could put that, I don't know, under your dinner table, maybe, or in the bathroom next to the toilet. I don't know.
Oh, God.
I'm thinking of hanging places.
I just think there's something uncomfortable at having dinner with a companion that's sitting there trying to relieve stress by squeezing balls
But
to the
you
point
don't know. Do you like the dinner? You know, I mean, you don't know. Maybe.
I do not.
I do. I'm gonna love it.
I don't know why.
I'm glad that everyone's uncomfortable about this. That's nice.
It's
I
fantastic.
thought life was a cabaret.
For some reason, when I think
God,
of
it
this,
fucking makes me laugh.
it reminds me of that song. Was I gotta do this. Hang on, this.
I stroke it to the east, and I stroke it to the west. I stroke it to the woman that I love the best.
Get it, Clarence Carter. Cletus Carter. Clarence Carter.
Clarence Carter,
Oh
stroking.
shit, Clarence Carter.
But it's good. And if you do want to order them, you can pre-order. Just let me know. And
Is
we
it- Are they
on
can- we can
Kickstarter
go
or
Is
from
it, is
there.
it a Kickstarter fund?
I sent it to you. Yeah.
When she
it's-
squeezes
and-
the balls 500 times, you get a set.
Yeah.
Every an angel gets its wings.
Nice Balls is available. In nearly impossible. They're nearly impossible to access. There's a limited edition.
There should be.
collector.
It really ought to be.
And
This
it was
is
like
just-
$499.
This is
or
like
something.
ball week. Did either of you see the thing that Kyle Ward tagged me in? That are it's a bike light. It's balls that hang from your bike seat and it lights up. It's supposed to be a big safety thing. Like, no, it's not.
Sounds very safe.
No, it's
Oh my
not.
God, that's very funny.
I'll find the
No.
picture of that in a second and
I
put
don't
it
know
up
that I
there.
did.
I can't imagine why everyone in the chat room has switched over to Safari Live. They're watching the Serengeti
Good.
They're
I love
worried
it.
about their balls.
in lieu of us.
Do that
Look,
to a
oh, that
wildebeest.
one's just running away. Look at that
Look
wildebeest
at
just
that
run.
wildebeest.
I've switched over too. Is that a wildebeest or a deer? What the fuck is that? I don't
Honey
even
Badger
know.
don't care. Honey Badger don't give a shit.
Allegedly, there's commentary. I may have to get my headphones out.
Oh, I'm
I-
sure there is.
I just want to see.
I feel like
No,
they're
I already
filled-
watched
Oh,
it.
did you click on
I
it?
watched it for a
Okay.
while.
I feel like they're filled with the Play-Doh that Donald sent down to, Louisiana, maybe. I mean, no one knows what they're filled with. Water, air, Play-Doh. I think Play-Doh. Anyway.
2 jelly beans.
Two turtle
just-
doves.
And Skittles.
No.
Friends of mine just
Poor Harrison
Harrison,
just
I know.
tuned in.
Sorry, Harrison.
prosthetic balls. So that's what happened.
Well,
So my friends
There you
in
have it.
Connecticut finally watched
See.
the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt the
Oh my
second
God.
season, and when they got to the 2 turtle doves episode, the one that almost killed me because I almost choked to death, I got the text back like I was not ready. There's no way you can prepare somebody for that exchange.
You just can't.
You can't.
yeah. That's a good
Okay,
point.
this is what
experience
Kyle
of it.
Ward sent me. This is what he sent me. They hang from your seat of your bike.
Well, that is funny.
And he
That
said
is
I needed them because I
funny.
ride everywhere. Now, what I don't know is if you've got those, will another crackhead steal those?
Yes.
Yes.
So you'll literally steal your balls.
He took my balls.
Probably won't be a crackhead. It'll probably just
You
be a
sank
fellow
my
bar
baffle
patron that
shit.
thinks it's hilarious.
I don't
I'm
need.
gonna need those.
I-
Right. Ron Rogers is gonna wander away with those accidentally.
Oh, I'll buy Ron Rogers his own set. He put him on
still
the,
try
he
to
put him
take
on the back
yours.
of his
Put
car
him
that
on
has
the
the
back.
bumper sticker that says "Whores are fun."
Yeah. I have the T-shirt.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Whores are fun
Yeah.
T-shirt. Wow. I didn't realize
good
that.
stuff.
I do love that.
I have one of 2 T-shirts that say "Whores
They're
are fun."
That
All
brought
right.
me great joy. That did make life a cabaret.
That was a
just
good time.
briefly, yeah.
Well, authorities in Pennsylvania say a drug suspect who dropped his cell phone while running away from police took to Facebook to warn his friends do not call that phone number.
Nothing good's gonna happen.
Lackawanna County detectives say 25-year-old Scranton resident James Lee Hankins fled when police tried to arrest him for an undercover drug deal involving heroin and cocaine on Monday afternoon. Now, police say a woman who knew Hankins let them search her apartment, and they found him minutes later in her basement on a computer that had a page of Facebook open. Detectives say that Hankins posted a message telling friends he's going to be off Facebook for a little while, and he asked him not to call his phone until he let them know otherwise. Now, according to at press time, online court records do not list an attorney for Mr. Hankins, nor a phone number.
Listen, he's just trying to warn his peeps.
Fantastic. No
There's
phone
gonna be
number
follow-up
allowed.
questions if you call and ask me something.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there's elephants. Look.
No
I think you're a
photos
little
allowed.
behind. And Nance was enjoying the elephants a moment ago.
No, but they're back. We
they're
went away,
back.
and now
I wanna
there's
see a lion
now there's a
coming.
mom and a baby. Oh, I'm waiting for the lion. I hope that comes soon.
Or a Trump son to come in and kill one of the animals.
No, that
son
or
of a bitch.
or a Minnesota dentist. Either way,
Either way.
Either way, they're probably friends. So
True.
the idea of the Skittles, as it were, we have the. I sent you a
Well,
photo.
I see
here
you've
of mine.
properly segregated your Skittles.
I always do.
Well, why
That's just my OCD.
Skittles
That's different.
supremacist.
I am.
not a Skittle supremacist. That's funny.
I'm. Yeah.
So we have you.
We just
I
the-
have that
the
one.
Skittles.
I
Yeah,
have that
just
picture.
that one.
But we did find. Al sent me this picture. This is the America mix.
Oh, very
the red,
good.
white, and blue.
I'm going to need to find those, not for any other reason than I do appreciate, as my shirt would show you, the red, white, and blue. I do love that.
Yeah.
So the 27 best reactions to Donald Trump Jr., who really is just a fucking douchebag.
Sure.
I mean,
I can't imagine.
but yeah, the apple, you have the tree. Not falling far
Doesn't
from
fall far
Nature,
from
it.
nurture,
Yeah, yeah,
potato,
yeah.
potato.
I highly doubt
that
it was
entire
any nurture.
I like
that
the nature
entire
nurture.
environment
Yeah.
was going to produce nothing but complete
a problem.
douchebaggery.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the 27 best reactions, I don't know that they're all that great, but when I first heard this, I don't know, what was your reaction when you first heard this? Were you, Kat, were you like,
You know,
you've gotta be kidding, or are you not surprised?
I am very hard to surprise, especially the longer this goes on.
Right.
The more I'm like, yeah, well, that makes sense. Oh, what? Trump said something stupid? And I'm increasingly frustrated by the number of times that I hear, see, or read the name Trump versus the number of times that I hear, see, or read the name Clinton.
Sure.
As I was reading my Sunday paper this week,
Oh.
Ah, very good, very good.
it kind of occurred to me because there were 4 articles about something that Cheeto Jesus had done,
Correct.
and not a single Hillary Clinton article in this week's USA Today / Arizona Republic. I was like,
Well, because the birther thing, he played it wrong.
Yeah.
And
Really
it dominated the weekend news service. And the fact that
absolutely.
the good thing was that nobody on TV let it go. No one said, oh, that happened. Everybody. Like
Right.
CNN just full on put on the brakes and finally remembered they were a news. And they were like, nope, you don't. Like, Tapper, the one that's
Jake
Tapper.
Tapper.
Yeah.
The one that's been kind of like drinking the Trump Kool-Aid
Yep,
for a while.
No.
Was
Seemed
finally
like it, and he wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
can't go on. Like, you're not allowed to say that you ended the birther movement.
Right.
Like,
Right. And,
nope, and that you did it in 2011.
and it's wonderful, but you know what I mean? There's got to
Oh.
be a certain amount of like actual news out there to report on too.
Sure.
Right. I thought you.
But I mean, we live in this age of news
Oh, I know.
cycles.
You
and
probably-
And
he
honestly,
misplayed that, thinking it would be a Friday thing. It would go away.
Right.
That they would all go away for the weekend. And
like they say on the
nobody
West Wing, he put it out with the trash.
put it out with the trash on Friday night, and it just backfired.
You may not have seen it because you always rip on the fact that Chuck Todd never asked a follow-up question. Did you see the interview with him and the blonde bimbo?
Oh, yeah,
Where
they-
he's like, nope, we're gonna just keep coming right back. We're
Yep.
gonna come right. You're not gonna answer it.
Chuck Todd grew balls.
He just ripped that Marianne Collinsworth, where the fuck her name is, I don't care. But he just kept going at her, and she just like evaded and evaded. He's like, oh, nope, we're going to come right back to it.
Yeah,
I
they-
enjoyed the hell out of that.
They all did.
I mean, they need to do a lot more of that.
Oh,
all the
absolutely.
Yeah, and
time.
we're
Like,
at that point
let's
where they
stay
all
on
need to be
topic,
journalists
people.
now.
Like we need to be on top of this, and we need to actually have information and news and like actually ask questions.
Yeah, and it's
and
time
and
to
insist on answers.
whatever her name is, the new Trump campaign manager, Kellyanne, whatever her name is.
That's what I'm talking about.
She
She
was-
looks real tired.
But she was.
Oh, she's got to be exhausted trying to refute
I'm
everything.
looking forward to the HBO like mockumentary
Right, right,
about
right.
this campaign.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
So
because
I
they
mean,
did a
she-
great job with Sarah Palin.
She was
Yes,
brave
they
enough
did.
to go on to Bill Maher, but she's been going on Bill Maher since. She's another one of those people that's been on my radar because she was on the old Comedy Central Politically Incorrect, even before it was on ABC. So she's been on like a Republican that's been showing up on Bill Maher's show for like 20 years, maybe more. Now I don't even know how long that show's been around. I feel like it's been around for like 25 years. That
It
now
has
it's
been
now
a
it's
long
real
time,
time. She
Oh,
was
that's
brave enough to go on there, and she just kept trying to deflect, and he's like, "No, you used to be good at this. Like,
No.
you used to be able to answer questions. You're just avoiding now." He's like, "We're friends. Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And it was tough, but she went on Rachel Maddow. She's going into
She's
the
trying.
tough places.
Yeah, and
But-
she's getting called out for it, but she's
Yeah,
trying.
but boy, she will never answer a question. I feel like give her something like one easy question, like what color is the sky today? Like what color is that dress you're wearing? Like you got to give her one thing she can answer with a definitive.
Right. Well, you gotta have a baseline.
Yeah,
Right.
And no matter what question they ask her, it's, well, let's not forget that Clinton back in 2000 said the sky was blue.
Correct. Exactly.
yeah.
It's a gray day. No, but let's remember what she said initially. No, what does your candidate say? And she never knows. She never knows. Well, you're going to have to ask him. Well, where the fuck is he? Get him on.
Well, no. Well, what's wrong with you?
Well, yeah, you're the campaign
why do
manager.
I need my little orphan Annie decoder ring to figure out what he's saying when they're all like, "Well, that's not what he meant." Well, you're gonna have to help me here.
Well, that and the
'cause-
fact that she's the campaign manager and doesn't know a goddamn thing about
Correct.
anything that's going on
Yeah.
in the campaign. Nothing. It's just astounding. It's enjoyable as hell to watch though, because watching her get grilled and try to squirm out of shit, and then again, I feel like she is, and I've used this reference before. I feel like she's a Stepford wife because the second Rachel or Chuck Todd or somebody interrupts her, she just stops and then just does that blank smile.
Oh, and because
Like a fucking Stepford
but
wife.
now today
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
Trump campaign is, or like the last couple days. Well, no, it was maybe it was yesterday. But the Clinton campaign is they insult people. We're about
Totally.
ideas.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yep.
Have you heard
Yeah.
that yet?
Oh,
No.
absolutely.
That's their new talking point. Like, oh, the Clintons just insult
Because
people.
of
We're
the
the
what is
ideas.
it? The deplorables.
The deplorables. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all about
The
insulting
Clinton
people.
campaign is in such a magic, like it's actually starting to work against them because they're in such a magic place where all they have to do is play the other guy's
Yeah.
words
Yeah.
out
Oh, yeah.
loud.
Again.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when Trump came
They're able-
with
they're-
the bombings that happened in New York and New Jersey, that went off. Thank God, not killing anyone. But when that happened, he gets off his plane before anything has been announced. He's in Colorado. Gets off the plane and this is a comforting man who walked up and then said, "Well, I just got off the plane. Well, I was on the plane just getting off, and well, I just need to let you know that a bomb went off in New York, and we don't know anything, but
That's a good plan.
we need to, we need to do something, people. We need to take care." So
We don't know
it
anything,
jumped-
but we should do something.
right, and it was a bomb,
But we
and it
should
was those
start blaming
Islamic
people.
terrorists.
Could have been a backfire, but we
Right.
better do something.
and nothing had been announced. And then they talked to Hillary, and I don't remember which one they talked to first, but she was completely measured.
Yeah.
And what they were,
she's a grown-up.
Because she's a grown-up. She was like, well, before we jump to conclusions, let's find out what's going on. We need to be there for the first responders. We need to be there for the people that were injured. We need, things that made fucking sense.
And a lot of times
And
those
made
are
you go,
lures.
okay,
They do the
good.
smaller bomb with a little anti-personnel to
Right.
lure the first responders there, and then the bigger thing goes off to hurt the first responders, which luckily was not what happened, and many of the devices didn't go off.
Correct.
But,
Correct. But to jump to that conclusion and to just make this bold statement before anything else had been released.
Right, so this is going to be the comforter in chief. Like, the great thing
Correct.
about having Obama as president for the last 8 years is with all these shootings and everything, he's gone there and at least been comforting and been offered some consolation. There's nothing you can do to fight the gun lobby, unfortunately, or our culture of rape. But at least go there and offer some comfort in some actual grown-up words of wisdom.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And
what's,
that,
you know,
what gave you any
I feel like
kind
he's
of-
going to be like Charlton Heston, showing up the week after Columbine and going to the NRA convention and holding up his "out of my cold dead hand." You know, he gave that speech in Colorado
true.
a week after Columbine.
Right, I forgot about that.
It's classy.
Yeah, that's when you know you're, and I think that's what Cheeto Jesus is going to end up being.
Oh, I can see that. That's a really good point. They had the Skittles thing though was really just an awful kind of statement that Trump didn't put out there, but Trump Jr.
Who's raised by?
Exactly.
Or
and there wasn't, like I said,
possibly
I don't believe
raised
the
by-
nurture. I don't believe the nurture at all. You know,
Well, I'm
No,
sure
but-
there was a nanny at some point.
But
Exactly.
but he said he's never changed a diaper. He had very little to do with the
Women's
upbringing
work.
of his children. Yeah.
I believe he's literally said the word
Women's work. Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
Or 2 words. Those are 2 words.
But I love that Bill Maher sued him a couple years ago. Not sued him. Bill Maher challenged him to prove that orangutan wasn't his father. And Trump sued Bill Maher for slander or libel, whichever one it is when you say it. And so, and I never knew how the court case came out. I don't know if there was like some kind of you can't talk about it. But allegedly, this week when he was talking to Kellyanne What's-Her-Face, said that the judge looked at it and threw it out. Like that it never got further than that. Like lawyers were barely
No,
involved.
we're not doing this today.
But the fact that that he was, what did he say? He would give $5 million to the charity of his choice if he could prove that this orangutan was not his father.
Yeah.
And now Mark
that
Cuban
was
has
that
said,
was a
Not today,
parody
Brendan.
of Donald Trump saying that he would give $5 million to a charity of
right,
Obama's
right.
choice if he would prove that he was an American.
That's right.
yeah, which is just bullshit. But now Mark Cuban, who doesn't seem to be able to find any perspirant anywhere in the grocery store without his millions of dollars because he's always got sweat stains. It's me. It grosses me out. I don't
Sweaty
care if you
work.
get
It's sweaty
Alzheimer's when you're
work.
old. Stop sweating.
Just stop.
Just stop that. He's now offered he's offered $10 million to a charity, or since Trump doesn't really like to give to charity, he's offering to let him keep the money.
Sure.
He gets 4 hours on live TV of questions. One billionaire to another billionaire.
Just him.
Just
No
him.
fact checkers.
Yeah.
No one else there. No questions ahead of time.
Yep, no earpieces.
Correct.
And he can keep the money if he wants
That's
to,
right.
since he does have a hard time with giving money to actual charities, except for the one
Unless from other people.
and then
'cause then he gives
and didn't he do the thing where they found out one of the things that they did with a charity was bought a picture of Donald Trump?
Yes. Yeah.
Fucking
like
nuts.
a big ass
Fucking
picture of him.
nuts.
One of the tweets that went out with it's
gonna be a very nervous night on November 8th.
To recap, this person says Trump wants Americans to hate. Let's see. Free speech, due process, medical care for criminal suspects, tacos and Skittles.
Yeah.
When the Skittles thing came up, because did you hear that was his other thing concerning the
You
bombing
lost,
suspect?
you lost me at tacos and Skittles. I'm out.
I know.
Oh,
Done. Drop the mic.
Cannot hate those.
No, you can't.
I will starve to death at home. I will starve to death at work. Because everybody knows if you want a little something from me at work, bring the Skittles.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Do
discovered them
something.
in my 40s,
Yeah.
and now they're my favorite.
They're
food
good.
group.
They're good.
That's when you
I had
brought
no
in like
idea.
I know.
it's killing me to not just go face first into that bowl of Skittles. Because I'm gonna get the sugar beaties
Yeah.
at 50 from Skittles.
Well, the camera's frozen. No one will notice.
No one will know.
Oh,
But the medical care
that's
for
how I want to be
criminal
remembered.
for criminal suspects.
I'm making a lovely face myself.
Well, the funny thing is that's
Isn't that
not
nice?
even.
Isn't that nice?
I just realized that the software isn't even doing. It's not even doing what I'm asking it to do. Like that's not even the
No.
shot. That's not even the shot that's supposed to be there.
I won't even hear of it.
It's not working.
And they pay us for this.
But he was pissed off because the gentleman, I use terms loosely, that allegedly created the bombs and whatnot in New York and New Jersey, that he was going, because they had captured him, arrested him, that he was going to get medical care from the best doctors, and he was going to get probably room service, and he was going to get, and he went through this whole thing just to poke the bear
Right.
of the crazy right, to infuriate, and to me, all he is with this free speech bit is someone running into a theater
Yelling
screaming
f-
fire.
Yelling fire.
That's a good point.
Because that's what he really he just antagonizes the fuck
And then
out
you
of
want
crowds.
to go to a hospital now where someone has the right to judge you and decide if they're going to care for you. We're going to go back to that dark day. Like you just come in as a patient.
I think that's called religious freedom acts.
Yeah,
I think we're still having that dark day.
Yeah, I think we are still having that dark day. But we get patients in from the jail system
Sure.
often.
Oh,
Sure.
And they sit in the room with the 2 guards. They, some of them are handcuffed to the bed, some of them are not.
Sure.
Well.
But the guards are there for our protection to keep the the patient in line. But we don't ask questions like, "Oh, what did he do?" It's not our business. We're just
Right.
there to help them get over whatever it is they're sick with and get you out. We don't ask. It's just not part of what is done in a hospital.
Right.
You don't ask. You don't.
Well,
you don't
the
ask for someone's
Hippocratic-
citizenship.
That's part
Right.
of the ethics
don't
of that
ask for
particular
someone's-
profession.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you just heal the people. That's
Right.
your
Yeah.
job. That's
The
what you do.
You don't
Hippocratic
ask for
oath
their
doesn't say,
citizenship
like, I
card.
need
You
to
don't ask.
see-
We don't ask how they're gonna
Right.
pay.
Right.
It's
Right.
just we're here to get you well
Fix
and then
'em.
go on your way, and then you'll deal with somebody else later.
This
But the fact that you're gonna like complain about hospital workers doing their job and
Right.
treating someone humanely, no matter what the situation,
Correct.
is really it's just another example of just how low this man will sink in
Oh.
humanity.
and that's us versus them because we don't
with
we
you,
don't
Mina.
see ourselves in the alleged criminal anymore.
Right.
Like we don't see ourselves as that person. We're better than that person.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
certainly I'm better than that person who just got arrested for drugs. You know why I've never been arrested for drugs? Because I don't like them.
right.
Not because I didn't have opportunity. Not because I didn't have
Right.
desperate situations. Not
Right.
because I didn't have any of that.
And for some people, just because they didn't get caught.
I personally have never been arrested for drugs or gotten down that particular rabbit hole because I didn't like them.
Right. Right.
End of story.
Would you like to talk about the things you have been arrested for?
And we'll go back to Clayton. I didn't
Sure.
know if you were still working on these. I didn't know if you were just working on that, but the last thing for the Skittles thing, because it's my favorite, and I did try to send it to you. I know that you won't, you can't put it up right now, but it's this Chase Mitchell.
You know why it broke? I'm not wearing a hat.
There you go. That's why. See,
good call.
That's exactly why.
Really?
Oh,
Chase Mitchell tweeted, "If I told you I had a basket of deplorables and just 3 would kill you,"
Yeah.
and it was the picture
Oh, that's
that
really
went out.
good.
Isn't that
the
brilliant?
creepy Trump
Oh,
kid.
The
picture.
creepy
Send that to
Trump
me.
kids.
Send that to me.
I think that's hysterical.
Twitter, you know, the Twitterverse is on point, and I feel like, first of all, it makes me feel bad about myself because I feel like I'm not topical and witty enough to be on Twitter.
No.
I know. I
Oh,
just my tweets are not hilarious.
My drunken rants will be cut off at 140.
right. You
characters,
need
which is
Facebook
helpful.
for the essay.
Yeah, because that goes all kinds of wrong.
I do enjoy that.
I like how it just changed. I don't know what color my shirt is.
It's a blue, but it's a different blue than that one.
Yeah, it was funny because last
Oh,
week it
I don't
made
like that at
somebody
all.
said
I
we were
love
color
that.
coordinated because it turned like her and I shirts both purple.
Oh, right.
But neither one of us were wearing purple. That was kind of funny. When everybody's like, "Are you color coordinated today?" and I was like, "Are you high?"
That's
And then I
really
looked at the camera and I was like, "Oh, it does look like we're wearing the same
No.
color on the camera."
that's really blued everything out. I like that.
Yeah,
I do love a good blue filter. I think it
I'm
looks
giving
very
up
nice.
on trying to.
Lovely.
We're gonna be on the. Who knows what that is? Fuck it. There's a lot going on.
I love it.
Like, I don't
We're
even know where
loving
the-
it.
Fucker.
Where is that camera?
I can't. That's right above the TV up there.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out that angle.
Yeah, I know it's a great angle.
It's called an
isn't it?
overhead shot.
That's like right up Marnie's hoo-ha. Life is a cabaret at that
I know,
angle.
she keeps scooching.
I know. I'm like,
Again, another story that I figured you guys would all enjoy commenting on.
We do enjoy comments.
I'm sure you do, because I haven't said a word in the past 30 minutes, and you should all three have just been yammering on. This came.
Wow,
I heard,
judgy.
I know.
I
trying
heard
to help
this.
you.
Well, I was trying to fix something,
Yeah.
but I
I
don't
think
really
it
give
was
a
the
shit.
show with Clayton McKee.
I'm
over
sure you
here.
all said something that I'm gonna be surprised that we've already talked about on this show in like 2 weeks. I'll be like, huh? Or maybe in an hour. No. Earlier
Jesus.
today on that radio station that I've grown to dislike, they were talking about, and I had not heard of this. Apparently, the Arizona Supreme Court issued a stunning and horrifying decision this morning, interpreting a state law to criminalize any contact between an adult and a child's genitals. So, according to the court, the law's sweep encompasses wholly innocent conduct such as
Doctors.
changing a diaper, bathing a baby, dressing your child where you may or may not come in contact with the general area of something, whatever.
Yeah, try and put pants on a 3-year-old that doesn't want pants.
Parents and other caregivers in the state are now considered to be, quote, child molesters or sex abusers under Arizona law. Those convicted under the statute may be imprisoned for 5 years.
Now,
And then I love part of the thing was when they were asked about this. Well, just use your common sense. Nobody's really gonna prosecute. Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they will.
Because the second that somebody comes up and they're in an ugly divorce battle,
Yeah.
they're gonna just be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, guess what?
Well, you
Guess what
called
he's
that
done.
one. Yep.
That's exactly what's gonna
You
happen.
bet.
well, and unfortunately, they've set up a little trap here where you are guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
there's a loophole there of intent. You have to prove that
Did
you
you
did
mean
not
to touch
have
little Johnny's?
inappropriate intent.
Right.
You are
do you
guilty
prove that?
until you prove innocence.
Right, which is completely fucked up.
Right.
But still, it's just like every caretaker in the whole state, everybody, all of a sudden, just becomes a molester just because. Like you said, you try to get pants on a 3-year-old.
Yeah, try to get pants on a 3-year-old that doesn't want to.
Yeah. Sometimes a 47-year-old. I mean, I understand.
I've never tried to put pants on a
Well,
47-year-old.
I have challenges some days.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave that alone.
Let me tell you how. Pizza Hut, those fuckers
Picture
are
it.
trying to keep me out of
Sicily.
pants because they put a pretzel crust around a perfectly delicious
Shut
pizza.
the front door. Why is that not here?
It was so because I can never see it again because I ate the whole fucking thing because it was pizza. It's a pretzel. It's a pizza. It's a pretzel. And a warm, soft pretzel. And it was more pizza. And then it was pizza. And then it was a pretzel. It was just a loop of disasters and deliciousness. And it's gone.
I thought you
I'm
were going to say that they
speechless.
I
show
ate
up.
it in 2 sittings
Speechless.
I thought you were going to
that
say
were
they-
really close together. And unless you slow down your camera, it may have seemed like one sitting.
Separated by a sip of water.
I just put that thing in the chat room for you.
I thought you were going to say
like-
they show up so fast
know-
to your house with the order that you called in that you don't have time to put your pants on. Is where I thought you were going with that.
No, they'll
story.
never fit again. Now that there's pizza, pretzels in the world,
No.
I'm going to have to invest in a whole new pant size because that was the end of the world as we know it.
But back on topic,
And still a
our
cabaret.
great
Us?
state of Arizona
Back on
is
topic.
taking full advantage of the fact that no one's watching.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, that this is just as ridiculous of a thing as a law as the law that you can't bring up bags again.
Right, you can't talk about
It's
banning
just a
plastic bags.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to equate touching children in that vile people in that mindset. I don't want to equate those to people who want to talk about plastic bags, but it's just as asinine.
But it's,
But that's how they're
it's
going to play
creating
this.
an
'Cause somebody's going to play this back and be like, the show with Clayton McKee, they're for child molesters
Right.
because they're against this law.
right? No, yeah.
And that's how it's gonna play out.
Right.
It's gonna be something that's
another
gonna get,
time where I can't run for president now.
it's gonna get struck down the first time an adult judge sees it as like, oh dear God, no, you can't have that. Like, that's like
No, but the Arizona Supreme Court just passed it.
right, but it's gonna go up one more step to
Sure.
like a real
Right.
court,
Yeah.
whatever our district court is, and they're gonna be like,
I think we're
Calm down.
9.
I always think we're 9 and I'm
Correct.
not sure.
I always
but
feel
I'm
like
like-
we're 9, but I think we're 8. God,
That's gonna get struck down, but it's gonna be a hot topic button
We're
of
8.
are we
we're
8?
It's gonna be a hot topic button of, oh, they're for child molesters. They're not for this law. Until you read the law and be like, it's an asshole law.
Well, it's an asshole law that easily targets whoever the prosecutor wants to target.
Right. What was that old? Oh God, it's a famous story and became a really good TV movie. The falsely accused daycare center. That was
In New York,
they were like Mick something or other.
Mick Martin.
The McMartin trial.
That,
was
wild.
a horror story of people just going on and the witch hunt that went on and the lives that were ruined over false accusations.
Oh,
Well, and we as a country are poised for,
Because we love a news cycle and a hot
Oh,
thing.
you
about-
bet.
and we're just poised for another generation of public lynchings and witch trials and burnings
Yeah.
at the stake. Like we're ready for it. We're not going to do it as barbarically. We're going to do it all legally and on cable fucking news. But
Meanwhile, the CEO of Wells Fargo makes billions of dollars off
did
fake
you
accounts.
see
Oh,
the
yeah.
Elizabeth Warren?
We all put that on our Facebook. Elizabeth Warren
I
took
did
him
not
on,
see it yet.
but he was so smug.
She's my motherfucking hero.
And he knows just sitting there that story will not get traction because he didn't kill an animal in Africa.
Yeah.
Like he didn't commit one of the 4 deadly sins. He didn't, he stood up for the national anthem, so he's good. You know what I mean? He didn't.
Right.
He kept himself out of the news story.
He turned a blind eye to fraudulent practices that hurt the working families
While
and the working
investing
poor,
in those fraudulent
while
practices.
making $200 million.
Right.
Wow.
$200 million, his stocks increased because of all of this fake accounts and,
And he wasn't even
sales
smarmy.
numbers.
He just knew sitting there he was fine.
Yeah.
The news won't touch
Well,
this.
the board's going to do what
Yep.
I wanted to stab him in the face.
Oh my God. That's
So
the right
much.
reaction.
So much.
That's just something that literally
And Elizabeth
stole.
Warren wanted to stab him in the face.
This is someone who literally stole from poor people.
Yeah.
Literally
And then
did
blamed
it,
them.
And then blamed
Yeah.
them. He trumped it,
Meanwhile, I bank at Wells Fargo, and I'm moving all of my banking this week.
as you should. Get
Oh.
out of Wells Fargo
Everyone,
because
well, and we're gonna we're gonna go to an Arizona credit union. We're out of the big three
Yeah.
altogether. Because I mean, Wells Fargo's not special.
Nope.
Chase will do the same thing to you. Bank of America's been horrible for years.
Yep.
I don't even remember the fourth one. I think there is one, but I don't think there is.
U.S. Bank? No.
And I
don't think there is. I think there's Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo are the big three that own all the others.
And Bank of America is still around.
Right.
Chase, Bank of America,
Wells Fargo. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we lost
You've
one
got
there.
U.S. Bank is still around.
Right. I thought it.
And then you've got your credit unions too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't know. Like you're saying that it's like somebody owns all of them. Like it's
Right.
a big monopoly anyway.
Yeah. It's.
Well, actually, Wells Fargo
again,
is the
nobody's
majority
paying
owner in First Data. First Data is the mothership of all
Have a
credit
great-
card processing in the
great day.
world.
Yeah.
So you can't run far from the Goliath. But I get you.
I think at Podunk, Arizona Credit Union, you can.
Well, yeah, but still, all credit cards still roll up into First
Oh,
Data,
sure,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
the mothership
Yeah,
and their
somebody
own
bigger.
Right,
wholly
your
by-
money's gonna go
partly
through
by
them at
Wells
some
Fargo,
point.
right? But you don't have to go through their fucking drive-through every day and participate.
No,
in
and
their,
I don't have their unfortunate $12 an hour employees trying to make ends meet by just opening accounts to make their sales goals.
Yeah, she was on Rachel earlier tonight. I'm going to go back and watch it, but
She
Ms.
is
Warren was
fired
fired
up.
up even after
Oh.
that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the blatant. That is exactly what she has ran against. Was this kind of guy who just stared her down of like, you're not going to touch me.
Yeah.
There's no one. It's a Republican House. It's a Republican Senate. No one's coming for me.
What are you going to do to me?
We're
Right.
going to yell Benghazi again.
Yeah.
I just screwed over millions of people of their jobs and their money,
Right.
but all they're going to do is cry Obamacare and Benghazi.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get out of the Republican.
2,000 of his minimum wage employees got fired
But
over
who's
this
to
thing.
say? And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. Who's to say that? Okay, we go through all this. She ranted and raved, and it just sits idle for a while. And what if we do get a flip in majority
No, but the
in
Attorney
January,
General can still go after him.
and then
There
turn
are-
around and go like,
Yeah.
The Attorney General can still go after him. There are ways. It's just that needs to be taken up and dealt with on a national level of like, our banking
Oh.
system is back to being fucked again. That's another house of cards you built.
right.
Well, and the clip kind of finished with Elizabeth Warren saying that basically that Wall Street bigwigs are not going to change unless we make them.
Yeah, unless you take them to
You know
court
what I mean?
and start.
Take them to court, prosecute them for the criminals that they are, and then you're going to have to make them. You're going to have to regulate them again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna have to put
Thanks,
these laws
Reagan.
back into place.
Yeah.
Where banks have to behave accordingly and are held to consequence if they don't.
Right. Because you know Paul
'Cause-
Ryan's going to get
yeah.
out there and just suck his dick tomorrow.
Well, and unfortunately, your average American isn't going to do anything about it either.
Because he didn't kill an animal.
Right.
He stood up for the
Didn't
national
kill anybody,
anthem.
and it didn't
No,
happen
no,
to
no.
me.
Killing people doesn't matter.
Oh, no,
You
we don't
can't
care
kill
about
an
people.
animal, right?
No,
we
no,
don't
no,
care about
no,
people.
no.
And
Unless you're from
and-
another country.
Right.
because your neighbor is still thinking us versus them.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened to me. My Wells Fargo accounts are fine.
Right.
And it's too much trouble. I'd have to change my direct deposit. I'd have to
Yeah.
change how I pay my cable
The revolution
bill.
will not be convenient. It's like when people watch protesters and like, don't they have jobs? It's not the point.
They probably do have jobs.
And
They
they're risking
probably
it.
They're risking their
take
job.
time off. and-
Whenever you hear
yeah.
somebody say, "Well, if those people had jobs, they wouldn't be out there," it's kind
No,
of the point.
it's more important than their
Yeah.
job.
The revolution
for
will
them to
not
be
be
there.
convenient.
Right.
It's going to
We-
take some hardship on your part.
We're not going to overthrow the government on a Saturday afternoon.
Right. When it's charming and free.
just on Saturday and Sunday, and sometimes on Monday if it's a holiday.
I'm off on Mondays.
I think
I'm
I have the
totally there.
final story in the headlines because wow, we have
We're very
consumed
chatty.
2 hours.
We're very
we are.
chatty.
Well, this is
And my nuts are delicious.
all going out to everybody who may have been flipping through the
Are they under
channels
the
last
table?
night. ABC aired a show that's coming back, and I enjoyed the show back in the 70s, and I enjoyed it a couple times when I've watched it, but I missed this episode. I'm going to have to look for it. Match Game is back on the air. It's hosted by Alec Baldwin, and do you know who was on the panel last night? None other than the brilliant, the talented, the go-to girl, Sarah Palin.
Oh, God.
Shut the front
Match
door.
Oh,
Game.
boy.
Now, some of you may recognize, here's the set from the all-new Match Game. You've got 6 celebrities, or B, D, C list celebrities sitting there.
As
Alec
they
one
always were
dumbass.
on game shows, yeah.
And let's look at the panel, shall we? Oh, my God. There she is, lower level, all the way to the left. Sarah Palin, America's
Oh, my
sweetheart.
God.
She's literally become a game
Wow,
show
2 of those
punchline.
people have actual careers right now.
Kristen Chenoweth is sitting 2 down from her.
And Randall, Randall, I can't think of his last name.
Off
on
the
the
boat,
top
right?
right.
Fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. He's on Veep, and
Leah
he was,
Remy's there.
whatever movie I saw last week that I enjoyed, he had a part in that, and we all expected lines from Veep. We were like, oh, he's going to talk about Gulf War where he saved the guy from the fire.
Sully? Was he in Sully? When did you see it last week?
According to
I was trying to remember. I'll think of it.
according
I'm like,
according to this report, Sarah Palin and Baldwin have clashed over the years over their opposite political views. Blah 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 blah. Well, he apparently he opened the show with Sarah Palin is here because Tina Fey won't return my calls.
Well, he was the host
That's
the
funny.
week that
Magic.
she showed up. If I'm not
yes, that's
mistaken.
True. Saturday Night Live.
So she appeared with him on Saturday Night Live and she was very funny that week. It really was. It really did help her out for a week.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do the rap, and so Amy Poehler actually did it. But they wrote that rap for her to sing, and she rehearsed it. She just decided at the last minute to not do it.
oh, I didn't know that part.
But she meets him because they do the really funny little bit in the beginning where he thinks he's talking to Tina Fey.
Oh
And he's
yes,
making
right.
fun of Sarah
And she
Palin,
walks
yeah.
up. The other one
no,
walks-
she's standing there the whole time.
Yeah.
And he allegedly thinks it's Tina Fey, and like he's really talking to Sarah Palin, and it was very funny. Like she actually seemed human for one Saturday evening for almost 90 minutes.
Best actress in politics.
Yeah, but
Dumbass.
can't read.
No.
According to the report, during the taping of the show, they all were drinking beer and wine earlier, and according to the report, Sarah just drank water, according to what this says. To give you an idea of how the episode went, here's a description of one round in which a flag football player bro named Billy was the regular person who went up against the stars. The question read by Baldwin said, "Did you hear about Pinocchio?" Did you hear that Pinocchio has a sister? Every time she tells a lie, her blank gets bigger. But if you'll recall, that's how the show goes. You have to fill in the blank and match the words. Brett Summers, Charles Nelson, Riley always used to
right.
do it. I enjoyed it. Match game 76.
I don't know, tits get bigger?
Yeah, whatever.
What was the answer? What was
It doesn't
Oh,
say.
God damn it!
You have to watch it.
Jesus. What was on last night? It's too late.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, on demand.
It's been on all summer, though, so right
Yeah.
on top of it.
Yep.
Right, but the Palin one was just last night.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have seen a couple episodes of it, and I just enjoy it.
Finger on the pulse.
I didn't give a fuck that it was on all summer. I saw Palin. Palin is the funny part of this story.
That's right. I would agree.
Breaking news: Whitney Houston 4 years sober.
I love it. Leah Remini probably thinks the Scientology freaks are after her and she's only on that show to be safe. Probably true.
Could be very true. That's right.
Could be. Don't know.
You don't know.
Don't know. Al, I'm assuming you're going to have something to talk about with entertainment.
we have a
and
couple
everything.
things.
Well, here we go.
Entertainment! We have someone in the Death Den. We have the Emmy Awards. We have the worst movie I've seen in years and years. I have a theory on Fear of the Walking Dead, and since none of you watch it, I'm going to spoil it for you and share it with you.
That'll be lovely.
We have the return of a show that scared the bejesus out of me the other day when I realized it was on.
Called Pizza Hut Delivery.
And, it was pizza. The Pizza Hut delivery
Pretzel
actually
crust.
showed up at the scariest moment of the show and was shuffling around outside my door. And Mama was terrified. And then we have a bizarre new wedding
Yeah.
going wrong.
Yeah.
So it came up today that Brangelina has split up, and after a thoughtful consideration of their 5-day separation, I guess they split up September 15th, and now Angelina has filed for divorce from Brad Pitt. There's gossip around that she hired a private eye to follow Brad Pitt on set with Marianne Cotillard, and that I guess that's the reason for the divorce. But I love it that there's somebody that Angelina is intimidated by their beauty.
Right.
Like, so, but very strange. And it's not like a younger woman. Cotillard and Jolie are only a couple months apart, basically
Yeah.
the same age, very
Aniston.
similar looking.
Aniston and
Well, Aniston is older.
no, but I'm saying with
Yeah, so he like
that's where it started with
he
her
like 'em
coming
pretty.
in, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Everybody's got a
So I mean, she's kind of learned the hard way what we learned from Friends, from ironically Jennifer Aniston. Once a cheater, always a cheater, if it's true. But very strange that after a thoughtful separation of 5 days, usually here like we've been separated since last spring, and we're
Right.
trying to work it out. Not like, well, we went our separate ways on Thursday, and now we've
They
decided
have
that's
75 kids. They don't have time to
a valid
thoughtfully think about things. They gotta get
Oh,
shit
and
done.
she already put in for like custody of the children with him as
Sure.
visitation. Like
Wow.
this thing is boiling over.
I just said
She's
good.
a little cray cray based on past relationships. I'm gonna say Taylor.
that
it might
whole
be you.
Billy Bob.
Yeah,
like,
the Billy Bob Thornton,
Ooh, Taylor might write a song.
and the Johnny Lee Miller one, and he hates it. Like he's probably mad again that somebody brought it up. Because whenever he does
You
an
just
interview, he's
He's not
brought
mad
up
at you.
as Angelina Jolie's first husband, and you
Sure.
always have to get that out of the.
Oh, right.
You have to Clinton your way out of that. Like, all right, we'll discuss the blowjob, but can we get through it fast?
right.
So, and he always is bitter whenever he has a new project. He's always like, just ask me about Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
I mean, luckily her star has fallen a bit, so it's not the first thing out of their minds, and it's been a couple years since they were married. Let's see what this story was about. Oh, that the polls in Florida have opened up again. Clinton's lead is extending in Florida.
Oh, that's good.
Just wanted to let you know. So from our deathbed, Edward Albee, one of the great playwrights of our time. He wrote The Sandbox. He wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. He wrote A Delicate Balance. He won the Pulitzer Prize for Best Drama, Tony Award for Best Play. Passed this last week. But honestly, if you need yet another reason, in case there's some reason why you have never seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, for the occasion of his passing, take a look at that. And if you ever have the chance to see that nightmare on stage, go.
Yeah.
Because I saw that on stage with Kathleen Turner, and I was like, really, Kathleen Turner is an aged haggy? I was like, oh, that works perfectly. With that voice of hers, she sounds like she's been smoking cigarettes since she
Sure.
was 5 years old and like a little boozy. And it was one of the greatest theater experiences I've ever had was Kathleen Turner, and I can't remember and the guy won the Tony, and I can't think of his name that played her husband in it. But he also wrote The Goat, or Who is Sylvia, which was I think he won that. Let's see. He won 3 Pulitzer Prizes for drama for A Delicate Balance, which was on Broadway a couple years ago with Glenn Close, Seascape, and 3 Tall Women. He was selected as the Pulitzer Prize winner for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, but the overruled by the advisory committee, and they've never said what it was about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Maybe it's because it's like watching 3 hours of intense therapy between 4 really fucked up people that they were like, let's not award this.
My goodness. Well, I have library on my schedule for tomorrow, so I'm gonna pick that one up.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
I was really surprised when I watched, because I'd never seen it before, and one night at his house we watched it, and I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And when they go through that whole scene where he's doing the Lord's Prayer or the death, what is the one? What's the one?
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
Right, but there's the scene where we're talking about the same movie, right? Oh fuck! Why can't I think of it? Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, Elizabeth Taylor,
Right.
Richard Burton,
It's,
George
it's,
Segal.
It's towards the latter part of the movie where she's talking about the death of the kid or something like that.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
starts
yeah.
reciting the thing, and the little blonde girl's like, "Stop it! That's not fair! That's not fair!" And she freaks out. Oh my god! It just gets rather intense. But these people are fucked up.
Fucked up. There is no getting around it.
The whole scene in the bar where they're all
Yes.
wasted. They drove there, then they drove home.
I dance like the wind. And you have to see it Letterbox, because that's one
Yeah.
of my strongest arguments for Pan and Scan, or arguments against Pan and Scan, because in Pan and Scan, Sandy Dennis is not in that movie. She's off camera for most of it because they have to cut off part of it. So you need to see it Letterbox, because Sandy Dennis's nervous breakdown is kind of happening peripherally.
right.
Okay.
So you really need to see that Letterboxd.
I'm going
because
to
I
pick it
said
up
as
on
a-
DVD at the Phoenix Public Library tomorrow.
But I think it also helps because part of the manic of the whole movie is that fucked up house that they're in, like the whole scene. And he's right though. If you cut off the sides of it, all you're seeing is the one person,
Yeah.
and you don't see the whole mess that they're in.
Yeah, it's a hot fucking mess, and it's very disturbed.
It's on the list.
So if your American Horror Story came back, very interesting. It's called Roanoke Haunting, or My Time in Roanoke, or something is the theme
Okay.
of this week.
Virginia, I presume.
And so they're doing, it's in the woods in Virginia.
Keeping with their Virginia
kind of
theme.
Geography,
seems like
very
a
good.
Blair Witchy kind of. We don't know who else is in the woods with them. It was very scary, very well done. But they're doing the people telling the story at the same time that you're watching the actors act out the story. So the people will do their testimonials, what's supposed to be the real people.
Yeah.
And then you'll cut to the actors that are playing the people that you just saw. So Jill Clayburgh's daughter, who I love, and I never remember her name, who's been in every season of American Horror Story, she's playing she's telling you her story of her trip to the woods and moving there. And then in the fake documentary that you're watching, or docudrama, it's Sarah Paulson playing her.
So you're talking about Lily Rabe.
Lily Rabe, yes. Gorgeous. Looks so much like her mom.
Yeah.
So very, very, very. It was really scary, and I ordered a pizza, and I left my door open because I disabled my doorbell many moons ago.
Right.
And it's hard to knock on the security door. And all I could hear was like something like shuffling outside my door during one of the scary scenes. I'm like, is there someone out there? And he's like, I'm trying to ring your doorbell. And I'm like, I'm watching a horror movie, and you just scared the shit out of me.
All of a sudden he hears this on the house.
Throw the pizza in the door.
Oh my God.
And then for Fear the Walking Dead, my theory is if there's
I
anybody
would love to have a camera on you in your living room. Because
watching horror stories, is I stop everything to turn on the lights and sit on the coffee table.
on the edge of the couch with the remote controls just right in front of the TV.
And my phone dialed with 9-1, just ready to hit the other one.
God.
Just to get them there faster. So my
Bring a pizza.
Yeah. Frisk the man at the door, but get the pizza. So, Fear the Walking Dead, my theory is where this show is headed very slowly, is that they're going to show us the start of the bad guys. Like all the evil societies that we've run into on The Walking Dead, where they met the governor, they've met Negan, they met the bike gang. I think we're going to watch, that's what this family is going to turn into. They're setting up 3 different camps, and they're going to show the bad people start. So you're going to see like the dark side of what happens.
Because I'm sure they all had good intentions fictionally.
Right, fictionally. And how they ended up, like especially the son. Because the son on that show, not the drug addict son, but the other son who's very dark. And they keep forgetting, but I'm like, the season is almost over. Like, you need to get somewhere with this show. Like, I'm glad you have good ratings, but you got to speed this up a little bit.
But we need some plots.
Yeah. You're not going to be on for 50,000 years.
They might.
Yeah.
So that's my
Zombies
theory on
are in.
that. American Horror Stories on Wednesday nights. What does that mean, I wonder? I don't know. There's some new icon on my
Wednesday's the day that comes after Tuesday. That's what Wednesday
They're
night
actually in sequence.
The worst movie I have ever seen, and it's taken me 5 days to watch, but it is The Cure for All Insomnia. But I finally made it through today. After I napped through it once, I finally watched the last hour of that movie. Now You See Me 2. Now You See Me, I thought was kind of a fun movie. The magicians that are like robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. And it was pretty good. Wasn't bad.
No.
Cute little Dave Franco's in it, and the guy from The Squid and the Whale is in it, whose name I always forget, from The Social Network. There's some good people in it. The first one was just kind of light and fun and magic-y, and kind of, it was a fun little summer movie. So the sequel, I watched it on video. Oh my God, it's so God the fuck awful.
But how many on
God
one
the
hand?
fuck
How,
awful.
how many
Wow.
sequels can you name that are great?
No, but this is bad.
That bad?
Oh yeah, this is like worse.
Like Free Willy too?
Well, I never made it there.
Yeah,
But
I know.
it's like
Wait,
paying.
wait, wait. Did
The
you see
last
Free Willy
movie-
1? You don't seem like a
no.
Free
Oh
my
Willy
God,
person
Free
to me.
Willy
Oh, I
was
saw
very
Free Willy.
touching, yeah.
Cute.
Okay.
With the
I
kid and
saw
the
that.
whale.
Well,
Yeah.
one of your mothers bought me Dolphin Tail for a Christmas gift. Oh no, that was that gift exchange. I watched
That was
that
a gift
shit.
exchange.
I
It
didn't watch
wasn't my
Dolphin.
mother.
I assure you, my mother did not.
I remembered it was from the gift exchange.
It was totally.
White
Okay.
elephant gift.
So now we'll go through
Nope.
the really fun.
You got lots of time.
The really
I
fun
got two
winners of
Maybe we already talked about that.
Oh,
of the Emmy Awards, because the Emmy Awards changed their rules. All the voting was online. No more paper ballots. You were on an honor system to say that you watched. Like, I think you have to watch 5 episodes for a best drama or best comedy. Each actor submits an episode for their best actor, best actress, or supporting. You have your submission, goldderby.com. If you're into this kind of stuff like I am, you can see which episode, if it's a show you watch, you can find out which episode they submitted
Right.
and find out, like, ooh, did they make a good choice? Is this Emmy worthy? One of the things you always used to talk about with submissions was that Shelley Long on Cheers would always pick a more serious episode, and that's why she only won 1 Emmy for playing Diane, because she would go for her drama,
Oh, sure.
her more dramatic episode instead of sending in something funny, even though she did both so nicely, but it would
Right.
cost her an Emmy. And Sofia Vergara was the one that they said that in her generosity, she kept putting in episodes that highlighted other characters. So they were saying she helped Julie.
Julia Louis.
No, Julie. What's her name from Modern Family? The other wife.
Oh, the blonde.
The blonde. That her.
You said her name last week like this.
Yeah,
I can't think of it either.
I can't.
Where was I last week?
and she's so funny. But anyways,
Julie Brown.
No,
yeah.
Julie Bowen.
Julie
Bowen.
Bowen.
Oh,
Julie
Bowen.
Bowen.
There's
That-
not an R
You're
there.
welcome.
The 2 years that Julie Bowen won,
I
they
got
said that
one.
the
Good work.
people who watched the episodes got to see 2 good Julie Bowen episodes because she didn't pick ones that made her look as good as she picked for a co-star, and everyone thought that was strange. So there were some big surprises and some things that came out of nowhere. Outstanding lead actor in a drama series was Mr. Robot, Rami Malek. The second season is real. The first season is it's just weird, and he's got some mental issues, and it's really interesting how they're playing somebody that clearly has some issues with depression and like. I think he's on the spectrum somewhere.
I
but it
flicked
was
on the first
I
episode
agree,
and realized
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
like prepared for that at that time, and so I
Yeah.
had to turn it off. I
Yep.
watched the first 20 minutes of the first episode, and I was like, I am not here
Yep.
for this right now.
Yeah.
I need a
Yeah.
musical.
And the second,
I agree. I was like,
Yeah,
what the fuck
I
is
was
happening?
I was not prepared.
Yeah.
yeah, because life is a cabaret is what you wanted to
chum,
hear.
yeah.
Life is a cabaret.
But it was
Thank
really
you.
impressive that he won because the first season is good. The second season I have not enjoyed at all. If there's somebody out there,
I know. I think I saw that Buddy Early was struggling with it.
yeah,
But he struggles with
the,
a lot of
the
things.
second season.
Yeah.
The struggle is
Good
real.
point.
Just
with our-
read his feed.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
I do. My gosh.
So then we get to outstanding lead actor in a limited series or movie. We knew that some. Well, we really thought Bryan Cranston for All the Way playing Lyndon B. Johnson, his Tony Award-winning performance. It's on HBO. That was kind of the favorite to win, but Courtney B. Vance, who turns out is married to
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
had forgotten about. I knew it in
Totally.
the back of my mind, but it slipped my mind till I saw him win an award. He won for playing Johnny Cochran in
Oh, The People versus OJ?
The People
Yep.
versus O.J. Simpson. Lead actor in a comedy series went to Jeffrey Tambor. And a funny thing, because Transparent's not funny to me. Like, there's some lighter
There are
moments.
parts of it,
So,
right.
but now they have that rule that if
Yeah, I
you're 30
wouldn't-
minutes, you're a comedy. If you're an hour, you're a drama, no matter what the format. And so they're saying that
a
it was
dumb
born as a
rule.
Yeah.
comedy, but it was born as a drama, but it identifies as a comedy, which I thought that was
That's cute.
a funny joke. I guess some people
Clever.
were offended by it, but people are
Ah,
offended
fuck
by
'em.
anything.
Nah.
Um,
I mean that with love.
We've offended a lot of people.
I don't know.
Name 2.
Yeah.
Well, they
Countries.
don't listen anymore.
Countries. We're
Okay.
saying
I
countries.
guess an entire ethnicity. is
countries.
just like-
Asia.
yeah. And here's where
Further
we
South Asia.
Yeah. That's
Here's
right.
what the scream you heard on Sunday night was. First off, you heard the scream because I didn't have to work, and they told me I didn't have to. But then for lead actors in a drama series, Tatiana Maslany
Yeah.
for Orphan Black, for playing all those characters. If you're not watching that show, start from the beginning. It's so good, and she is so amazing. And the fact that I can watch it, and they list all the names of the people that she plays. When she's Sarah, she kind of annoys me because I think she takes advantage of her gay friend and that the gay guy doesn't get much of a life because he's always cleaning up her messes. But when she plays Allison and the gay friend have this great relationship, and they're a lot of fun, and they play so well together that I think there's 2 different people playing the role because, like, I like Allison better. And I'm like, it's the same fucking actress. And as you go through that she's playing 6 different people, that she plays them so well that you lose sight sometimes of that's the same actress.
Sure.
That's what you
Because
said,
you
yeah.
genuinely like I love the character of Allison. I think she's absolutely hysterical and so much fun. And to have a different chemistry with the same actor playing the same role, to me, just shows how nuanced that is. I was so excited that she won that. I had to clutch my pearls. Sarah Paulson finally wins her Emmy Award for playing Marcia Clark, and her date for the Emmy Awards was Marcia Clark.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
It
So
really was.
she won the Emmy.
Did they do the same hair?
No.
Oh,
And she
That would have been great.
she gave a wonderful speech thanking
winning.
everyone, and then she said that it was her turn to say to Marcia Clark that you were a mother of 2 doing her job, and you were made into a 2-dimensional character where we judged you by your hair, we judged you by your looks. We never took into consideration the whole woman that was really struggling to do her job, and we belittled you in public.
Under
and
a
I'd like,
scrutiny.
and I would like to take this moment to apologize to you for doing your job well under that kind of condition and what we all did to you as a nation. And it was like,
Wow.
I was like, wow,
Right,
that's
and
a
here's
big
all
fuck-
these people watching, and so yeah, it was a
I
big
never
deal.
I was surfing channels one day and I never watched Wendy Williams because I don't have time for that man. But Marcia Clark was on, and I watched the entire segment. She had 2 segments with her, and it was very interesting because surprisingly, Marcia Clark or Wendy Williams asked her relevant questions with regards to things, and Marcia Clark explained, which I know she's done in other interviews, but I guess I just hadn't seen them. Like they talked about the hair, and she's like, was a working mom and my perm was easy. So I just did a perm and I didn't realize anybody was going to give a shit about my hair. And
or that it looked like she was trying to do an afro. Like it just had this
Oh,
other.
It never crossed my mind.
Right, and that's why you got to watch The People
Yeah.
versus
I
O.J.
haven't seen
Simpson.
that.
But you have it's must see television because it takes something that you think you know so well and it turns it upside down and it shows you what the people were
and
going through.
She also talked about what a dick Ito was to her in the whole proceeding.
Oh, and he was a dick
And
overall.
I was younger, I didn't pay attention, I didn't realize all of that, but she was like, yeah, he never addressed me in court. Like all of a sudden it had to be brought to his attention like, in his chambers one day by somebody else. It's like, you need to address her like she's a prosecutor, like who she is.
Well, he's very much like a Donald Ito. I mean,
Oh, I got
because
it.
he just wants to.
He
it was
sucked
the
up the camera. Mm-hmm.
It was big time. But I hadn't thought about the Afro thing until I did watch that, and I went, "Oh, come."
And like I said, I just kept waiting for them. And I've said this like a million times. I kept waiting for them to cut to me at home watching it, like, because it's so and it just blows your mind on so many levels.
Now do we go to a midget for
Lead actress in a comedy series, Veep, Julia Louis-Dreyfus wins her record-breaking 5th Emmy for this role, 8th Emmy overall. So she's now won an Emmy for all 3. Well, this is years ago that she achieved this. Her 3 main parts on television. She's won an Emmy for all 3. And she's at 8 Emmys. And I think she's now tied for the most lead actress in a comedy series. I think it's her and Candice Bergen for
we don't get to see Candice
that.
Bergen enough anymore.
That New Adventures of the Old Christine is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I really enjoyed that show.
God.
I catch it occasionally. I've never really followed
And what's
the
her
whole...
face?
Wanda
Sykes.
Wanda Sykes on that.
Which we just watched. My mom and I just watched. I'ma Be Me, her comedy, her stand-up from 2012, I think. Honest to God, I was sitting there like I had to pause it, rewind it. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, and
so
when she goes on,
fucking
she
funny.
had a run on Blackish, and they'll probably keep her on.
Yes, she did. Wonderful. Yep. I
So
agree.
good. So, and then one of the other big
You'd love it.
surprises
Great.
of the show, Louis Anderson. For
Well,
the show,
I always think has died. I don't know why I
because
think
he
that.
looks like he's dying.
Mm-hmm.
For Baskets, where he plays
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis' mother.
Yes.
And it is twisted and wrong. I've only seen one episode of it.
I think that's all I've seen
And
of
I
it.
really thought I needed more drugs. Like, I needed to up my Robitussin or something.
'Cause they're
to
not
get
ma-
into the mind of that
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
It was so fucked
And they're
up.
not making him up to be glamorous. Like he
Oh,
just
no.
looks like Louis Anderson sitting there.
And what a great... Well, first off, it looked like he was going to drop dead walking up to the
He
stage.
really did.
That was not a healthy man making that walk.
But I mean, that railing was a little.
Yeah, and
you know, so I thought
he
maybe
actually
don't,
had someone prepared
Yeah.
to help him up the stairs. There
Yep.
was like a hugger and waiting. It was very strange.
Wow.
But his speech was really thoughtful and touching. And you thought, wow, you really can...
He's always very nice.
Yeah.
Cabaret.
Yeah, Cabaret. You really can, like... But the fact that they were watching those shows, and that just shows that now that they've switched to, like, all on the internet, that people are watching different stuff. There's such amazing different winners out there. And then, I'm sorry, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and she submitted the mother episode where her mother dies and she has to act
that was
sad, but first she
hysterical.
cheers. So, I mean, her episode was priceless. I went back and watched all the lead actress in the comedies, and I had to give it to her. Like, as good as the one that Diana Ross's daughter put in for Blackish.
Oh,
Who else I was rooting
with
for?
the sick-
Yeah.
No, but hers was the one where they have to the swimming party, where it turns
Oh my
out
God,
that
that's
Anthony
right.
Anderson can't swim.
That's right.
And they don't
I
invite them
didn't
because
see
they're
that
black
one.
and they don't think they can swim to the pool party. And then it turns out he can't
He
swim,
can't swim.
but he has to jump in and save the kids and almost drowns. And it was really an episode that highlighted
That's
him
right.
more than it highlighted her.
I thought it was the one that, when she
That's
was
what
sick,
Buddy
but
wanted it
that's
to
what-
be.
got
Buddy
it.
wanted it to be that
'Cause
one. So
God,
that's
if
what-
that wasn't funny.
But luckily, you can go on Gold Derby and find all
Yeah.
these things.
Yep.
Outstanding supporting actor in a limited series, American Crime Story.
right, Harrison.
Sterling K. Brown as Christopher Dark. garden. His speech was amazing. Everything about it. I do have to say, though, when Sarah Paulson won, she did beat out Kirsten Dunst
Yeah.
for Fargo.
I thought about you.
And I really thought they
Yeah,
should have
me
split
too.
it. Like, if Fargo won nothing, and those are the two best shows on TV last year, so I can't argue with it. Like, nothing can be best. But Fargo season 2 is the shit. One
I
of the
agree.
funniest jokes that they made was how Maggie Smith never shows up to the Emmys. So
was
Jimmy
funny.
Kimmel said if she doesn't show up this time, it goes to the next person down the list. So when they were about to say, like, accepting the award, he was like, no. Maggie, you want this? It's in the Lost and Found. This shit's over. Showed her accepting her Oscar, showed her accepting her Tony. He's like, nah. What is this ceramics class you can't get over? Can't get out of your
And
coming
Minnie
here.
Driver was the one who announced her.
Yeah.
And just started
Laughing.
laughing.
Like she was just
'Cause
done.
here
Like
comes Jimmy Kimmel when she goes, and the winner is, Maggie Smith. And no,
not gonna happen.
Jimmy Kimmel comes walking off and grabs it out of her hand. It was very funny.
I don't know if you've got it. Do you have the joke that he gave that landed poorly? Or
Which one?
Apparently.
Oh, the Bill Cosby.
The
reference.
Cosby one.
Oh,
and
God.
the shock that came over everybody's
Yeah,
face when they
especially
thought,
Tina Fey.
Well,
Yeah.
because Tina Fey, if you remember she's the one that threw the first Cosby joke out into the universe a
At the
few
Golden
years
Globes,
back.
yeah.
No, on SNL, and I can't remember which
What
comic.
was it? Because they keep referring to the Golden Globes sketch.
Right.
Where she was with.
Because then she did a joke.
they did a whole sketch.
Yeah, they did a whole sketch, but she threw it into an SNL, and I can't remember who was the host that week, but he was like, "I'll never work again if I tell that joke," and I can't remember who it was. But once Hannibal Burgess, who we all know from not that fucking show, Broad City.
Yes.
The other story about New York girls, but girls that I would actually hang out with,
But the ones that. Right.
that aren't going to stand in line for a pumpkin spice bullshit. But Hannibal Burgess is the one that started like really laying into the. He put it into one of his stand-up routines.
Tina Fey's anti-Cosby crusade actually began in 2005 on SNL. Stand by.
Cabaret.
Yeah,
Cabaret.
Sorry.
Oh, it was a Weekend Update.
I thought that was it. She did it in a news story, right?
Yeah, when she was still on Weekend Update, she threw it out there. This particular article that Googled up is 2 years old, and is actually a correction where they had alleged that she started with Cosby jokes on 30 Rock, but no, it was on SNL.
it was SNL, and I can't remember who the actor is that she wrote because she was the head writer. She had a sketch prepared for somebody that came on, and he was like, "I'll never work again if I do that." Like, because like it was all just a dirty rumor that was like,
Right.
oh, it was being whispered about.
Kenan Thompson,
Yes, that's it.
the resident Cosby impersonator, was too scared to comment on the allegations because of.
Wow.
Yes,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
No.
So, and then supporting actress in a limited series or movie against a really great bunch of people, including Jean Smart for Fargo,
Yep.
who I thought was brilliant. But Regina
I almost
King,
said designing women.
yeah,
Wow.
Right.
I'm a little off. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
but she has a couple Emmys, so we're
Would
okay with
deserve
her.
that as well, yeah.
But there's another show, although everything seems to be called American Crime. ABC does an anthology series just like FX does, because American Crime every summer.
Drew and
This-
I watched that. I don't know if you
I
had.
do, yeah. This last summer was
We
about
loved
the
it.
teenage rape case where the boy was raped at a party, or
right.
said he was raped, and how all the families come together at this private school to like fight him and
yeah.
fight the parents. And
Brilliant.
Regina King, who won the Emmy last year for playing I think she was the sister of she was the Muslim guy's sister that was accused of a crime.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now she was playing this powerful black woman whose son was the oldest person accused of rape, so he was the only one that was going to face charges as an adult in her fight to protect her child. It really is an amazing show. They didn't bring it back this summer. It's going to be on sometime this fall. And my other favorite, there were so many favorite wins. Supporting actress in a comedy series, Kate McKinnon, for the first time, I think, since Gilda Radner.
I'm just enjoying the chat room. I just realized what they're all talking
It's
about.
inappropriate to have a drinking word while they're discussing Bill Cosby. That's how he gets them. He gives them a drinking word.
I wasn't putting that together.
Every time I say Jello, you got to drink.
I just thought it was funny that they're all clocking the fact that we're all sober.
No.
Yes, they are.
Oh, they're all sober. I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly. All of us are.
We're not out
We're
of
not-
hand.
we're
by
not
any
out
means.
of hand.
No. Okay, so
And I went to happy hour. What's wrong with us?
yeah, exactly. So, but Kate McKinnon wins for Saturday Night Live, and I think it's the first win for a cast member of SNL since Gilda Radner.
Oh.
Even though Kristen Wiig was nominated many times, Bill Hader's been nominated many times. But Kate McKinnon wins, and she thanked Hillary Clinton and Justin Bieber and Ellen DeGeneres in her thank you speech because the Ellen DeGeneres, you just don't realize how imitatable she is till she does it.
Right.
But then when she
It's
just puts on a
very
different
funny.
wig and does Justin Bieber, and there's really no change in how she like looks or talks.
You're right.
Funny. There was just one more. We'll find it real quick. It was writing. If you watch the Game of Thrones, the Battle of the Bastards, the penultimate episode of season 6 is now the most awarded one episode of television in Emmys history
Of what show?
of Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
The Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah.
That is because of the technical issues, and it was what they submitted for writing and directing, and the things that it won in technical, and it was a huge, epic, what should have been a $15 a seat movie that they put on my TV. Like I was like, this
Right.
is way too
An
involved for a
hour's
TV
worth
show.
of-
Yeah.
The problem with that show is I forget everything that has happened the minute that it's off my TV. Like I cannot go to the water cooler and talk about Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones Wiki.com. Anytime somebody brings it up, 'cause I'm like,
I
I
love
don't
the
know
wiki.
what you're talking about. So I have to go to Game of Thrones Wiki.com and all my you just type in your search.
I'm one of those I read the book snobs and I watch the show and I still will watch an episode, walk away from it, walk to the kitchen and have no fucking idea what just happened. And
same thing.
It all just falls out of my head. I don't know why. I enjoy it. I sit and I
like
watch
something came up on my news feed that the actor that plays Gandry was spotted again, so clearly Gandry is coming back, and I'm like, okay, that's just Chinese to me. So I went right to that's what's up here, Gendry.
it. Because you know him as Podrick.
Sure.
Isn't he the squire of the big tall...
No,
Sure, I don't know.
no. Gendry is the
fuck is
the
it?
king, the dead king's bastard son that was carted away to go to the Night's Wall Watch.
I feel like I saw that on All My
yeah.
Children in 1988.
Exactly, and that's what you have to do. And I'm sure that All My Children has a wiki page to help you through tough
Oh,
questions.
because we lost track of him after Arya sneaks away and goes to become the girl with
The
no face or whatever.
Yes. Okay.
All of this sounds like gibberish.
Good
And it is.
Christ.
And it is. So, I do have to do one more thing. The outstanding writing for a comedy series, Master of None, the episode Parents, where Aziz Ansari,
I actually really like that
looks like a
picture.
meringue.
You are. I was just going to say that. It's fantastic.
1, 2, 3.
So
4.
Aziz Ansari and Alan Yang, his co-creator of Master of None, won for their episode of Parents, which is where they deal with what disappointments they are to their immigrant parents because they're just yuppie idiots.
Right.
And the parents like, we kind of dreamed bigger for you. So when it's a funny show, but that really is the standout episode. And that he won the Emmy for it, and Alan Yang, the co-creator, was the only one that got to speak because they cut off I'm going to keep reading his name, so I was Aziz. He said that there's as many Asian Americans in the U.S. as there are Italian Americans. Italian Americans have The Sopranos, and he listed all these shows. And he's like, and we have Long Duck Dong from 16 Candles.
Very funny.
So Asian parents, we appreciate all you're doing, but instead of buying your kid a violin next year, can you buy them a camera?
It was very funny.
It was a very funny speech.
Yeah.
So that Patton Oswalt won a couple Emmys last week tonight when writing for a variety series and variety series. So it was very good.
Is that all that you had for the Emmys?
Yes.
Well, I was.
I mean, they gave out 1 million awards. But
No. I don't mean because of that. But
I couldn't read the list.
I absolutely was in tears with Julia Louis-Dreyfus when she got up there.
Oh yeah, she got up
'Cause
there.
her dad died?
She
Yeah.
did a funny speech and she read it and she
But
apologized.
she seemed when Kate McKinnon won. Mom and I looked at each other because she had this look on her face, kind of like when they panned to her, like almost disgust.
No,
And
but I think
but Mom and I, we were like, oh.
they cut to what they did, and you may not have put together. They cut to women who were on SNL. That was a cut.
No. I not even about that. Just a look on her face, like
Oh,
right
yeah,
after.
yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, maybe she wasn't happy about that. Then she wins for Veep, goes up there and you could see her shaking, reading her, and that's not her. Like that just doesn't jive with her. So it was weird.
And what they thought was
then-
political satire is turned into a sobering
Right,
documentary,
right.
and she apologized for the political climate.
And it just was. And then all of a sudden, when
Yeah, she said that her father had passed away on Friday.
Yeah.
And
And-
it really was very touching.
Yeah, it was very touching, and it was just I don't know. It kind of made sense. I was like, maybe she was planning to take her speech up there then.
But why would
Right,
she win for Best Supporting Actress?
She was up for it for whatever reason.
No, Veep, her co-star from Veep was up for that Kate McKinnon won.
Was that when they panned to her?
Yeah, they
For
panned
that
her because
disgusting
they
look?
panned to all the women that had been on SNL before. So they went to her, Amy Poehler.
And you were just saying that. My apologies, because I thought it was something she was up for.
No.
Got it.
And
Sorry.
you could see them all be like,
Sorry
well, somebody
about that.
finally made it since Gilda
Yeah.
Radner. You know what I mean?
Got
Like,
it.
I can't remember. They did pan to somebody. It wasn't Sarah Silverman, but there was somebody else that maybe didn't have a successful.
Okay.
Because Julia Louis-Dreyfus had a really bad 1-year stint on
Mm-hmm.
SNL.
Right.
And it was kind of like one of those stories that you tell to somebody who's up and coming and is making like, you can get booted off of SNL after 1 year and
Yep.
never have a skit and then be the one of
and
the
be fine.
biggest
Yeah.
Emmy winners
Right.
in history.
Yeah.
Because she was on there
That's
so
right.
briefly, every time I've ever seen them show a clip from that season, I forget she was a cast member, and I think she was just a guest host. I always forget that she actually was part of the
Oh, sure.
cast for a year.
And so young.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's,
Was that where she met Brad Hall? Or
I think so. I think he was a writer on
think that's
SNL.
true.
too.
I
yeah,
think
and
that's
he
correct.
did the Weekend Update stuff too, didn't he ever?
I don't
I
remember
believe
that.
so.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Tall blonde guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really tall.
I believe he did.
Yep. What's Atlanta?
I'm not sure what Atlanta is. One Mississippi was Nero sent me that link for a podcast, but I am so hooked on presidential.
One Mississippi is not a podcast. It's a series, an Amazon original series.
Oh, okay.
With I
saved it, but I didn't click on it.
comedian. It was on the last week. I talked about the pilot season from last season.
Oh, right.
So it was on there. Hang on, because it's some lesbian comedian that's kind of
Some lesbian
some
comedian.
fucking lesbian. Tig Notaro.
Oh, Tig Notaro. Sure.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
her show, and it the pilot was like kind of like a really dark kind of a comedy thing. I think dad has died or is just dying, and so
going
it's like this
back, right?
dysfunctional family that goes home
Right.
and the interactions that they have. So it did get picked up, and they made a whole series, and they just put it out the beginning of this month, I think.
I just saw that and thought
Yeah.
about
So if
this,
you're an
but-
Amazon Prime video subscriber and watcher, it should be available and highly advertised on the app because they're pushing
Yep.
it pretty well.
And it's Diablo Cody who brought us
I don't know who that is.
Oscar-winning writer. She wrote. Jesus Christ.
It's not
tell you
until
in a
you say
minute.
it that I'll know, but yeah, because I
Her
remember
books
the name.
include Candy Girl, A Year in the Life of the
Juno.
Unlikely Stripper.
Juno,
Oh,
sure.
Juno, yep.
She wrote Juno. United States of Terror was the.
Oh my God, I loved that one.
Okay, so I just read the synopsis. Childhood to deal with an unexpected death of her mother, and I thought it was some kind of murder mystery podcast that I put on my list. Not real, like I didn't
Negative.
click on it, but I just read. I'm like, oh look, I have it right here. It's about. Oh no, it's not a murder mystery. Well, I will watch it. I really was. So if you can find me something that's a murder mystery about.
Apparently, we're into murder mysteries over here.
Well, you know I like anything serial killer related, but I have
Good
to tell
night,
you,
Harrison.
Good night,
presidential.
Harrison.
Good night, Harrison. I
Thanks
just
for
made
joining
it
in.
to. I'm halfway
how
through
far are
Abraham
you?
Lincoln.
Oh.
But I gotta tell you, those 4 presidents leading up to Lincoln, I thought they're the least known presidents. I thought they were fascinating.
I know.
I thought it was very fascinating, and half of Buffalo is named Millard Fillmore, so
Sure.
I knew the name. He wasn't
Sure.
a nobody to me for his 2.5 years, but very interesting. And we had a listener on here briefly until I explained to him what I thought about the Confederate flag. And you have all these people that do the states' rights, and the Civil War wasn't about slavery. Yeah, and it was kind of like 10 years of internal strife about slavery,
Yeah.
with the Democratic Party at the time being pro-slavery, the Southern Democrats, the Northern
Well, and
Democrats.
the states' rights comes into that, but it's all over.
What right
owning
did they want?
Slaves, right? The right that they wanted was slavery.
And the topic of which comes up from reading about Thomas Jefferson, now that I'm reading more about him and wanting that agrarian society and the fact that he needed slaves because he was so in debt and so poor, so like cash strapped.
Yeah.
All he had was his land and his slaves were his capital.
Sure.
That he was the worst offender of all of it because he tried to play himself off as this humble man who had no heirs, but he had like hundreds of thousands of dollars of wine in his basement. He could not afford to live without the slaves he had, and he never freed them.
No, not even after he died.
Not even after he died. He didn't free them, and he was kind of a terrible
Yeah.
person on
Because
many
by
accounts.
comparison, Washington freed all
his.
his slaves, I think upon his wife's death, right?
Yeah, but
Like he
Bye,
freed
Nero.
some
Have
upon
a
his
great day.
death, and then his wife retained some, and then when she died, they were all free to go.
they were all freed, and so kind of an awful person was Thomas Jefferson through
Yeah.
all this. Like, really didn't live up to anything. Hamilton, our favorite character, was always dressed in airs because he was poor, and so he never wanted anyone to think he was poor, so he would dress well. Where Thomas Jefferson came from money, had squandered all of it, and now lived at the expense of other humans, and would always present himself as this humble farmer when he wasn't.
Yeah.
But he was completely impoverished, and without slaves, he would have gone bankrupt and been homeless. Like, there was no way around it. So, and it is interesting to see that play out through that whole 50 years leading up to the Civil War, of how that played out through each president and what they agreed to, what they were against. Very interesting.
What's striking me is how horribly they die in the beginning.
Oh, they all have
of them
cholera.
Die horrible deaths
From
from
drinking
the,
poop
from
water.
Oh.
The water supply just above the White
Yeah.
House was filled with human feces, and surprisingly, they all died.
Where do you dump all the shit? Just upstream.
Just upstream.
And they all and their kids develop it. Oh, it's terrible. I'm up to Grover Cleveland, and the host of that podcast is very, very distraught because Grover Cleveland, as we know, is the 22nd and the 24th president. So he's fucking up the numberings from here on out. The episode number and the president number do not match. And the host is beside herself.
Yeah, that's
she
just
can't
not going to
even
work well.
deal.
He comes back again. And I
Yeah.
love how many times some of those fools ran for president, even though it was out.
Yeah.
The one that I listened to was how much, is it Millard Fillmore looks like Alec Baldwin?
Yes.
And then I Googled it, and he looks
And he looks
exactly
exactly
like Alec Baldwin. It looks like...
It's so freaky.
It seriously looks like a joke how much he looks like Alec Baldwin. She's like, now some people comment that he does. Of course, I'm like, well, I got to see what some people are saying. And I was like, well, that's just a picture of Alec Baldwin.
Who is it? Which president again?
Millard Fillmore, I think.
Millard.
Yeah, it's a very. I was listening to it. I was in the car a lot today. I was listening to it today, and I have to. I'm gonna
Oh my
have to-
God!
Isn't that freaky?
It is. Wow. In the Lifetime movie, he could actually play him.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not kind of. That's
No.
just him.
Yeah, absolutely. The eyes are amazingly him. That's
Such
wild.
a fun accidental find.
And
that
I didn't
podcast.
have
Let me
my
tell
glasses
you.
on, and I was like, oh, damn. That's
I may
funny.
have to loop back and re-listen to the podcast because number one, some of them are kind of blurring together now.
A lot of
lot
lot
of
of information.
presidents.
Well,
Yeah.
sure, it is a lot of information, and I'm doing it all like back to back. I'm trying to catch up before the election, so
And we
I wanna
had
get
a
all the way
gay
through.
president. Now I'm trying to remember one of these last three that I'm on. I don't think it was James Buchanan. No, it couldn't be because he looks like Ebenezer Scrooge. But Franklin Pierce was considered our best-looking president, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, wow, the bar is
like,
pretty
wow.
low there.
I'd like to talk about the board that talked about that.
Yeah.
Can we talk to them?
I'm appreciating the Jefferson, much like Jackson, was a historical cunt. I do appreciate these things.
oh, but
not
Jackson
necessarily
was the
talking
man of the
about
people.
Hamilton.
Jackson was the original bootstrap guy.
Oh, and he was the worst.
Oh.
He was the
Oh,
worst.
despicable, like anti-Native American and
Oh,
Trail of
anti-everybody.
Tears.
Yeah.
and-
Ugh.
oh,
But I do
terrible.
appreciate that.
I
like
am-
that phrase.
Oh, you're not that far just yet. I'm dying to, and I think I may have to read the book after you hear Ulysses S. Grant, because I was so like captured by their telling of him. And I
Him
guess
I'm
there's
more
like a
familiar
memoir or a book or whatever.
He was another one that somehow
Is
made
he
it
buried
into...
in the tomb?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is the one that for some reason was more popular when I was in like middle school, high school. So we studied him a little bit more
There
than
was a lot of
others. I don't know
study
if it
of-
was because he was the general and he was far enough past so they could get into it.
Yeah,
But
I
the
don't know.
successful general or my social studies teacher just had the hots for him.
Maybe.
But we spent a little time on U.S. Grant. But I'd be interested too because
Yeah.
he's one that I knew a little bit more about with his...
I have to go back and listen again to get the title of the book or the memoirs or whatever it is, because I think it's his memoirs. So he was writing his story in his own hand and only got up to the beginning of the Civil War before he died. So he's just like writing his story. He doesn't get to his presidency or anything, but it's just his story. And she has her guests like read the book and then come talk about it. And by the end of that episode, I was like, well, I have to read this book immediately.
Yeah, and they're all 30 minutes. Like Abraham Lincoln is maybe 54. I think
they're
that's
all
the only
40
long
minutes.
one.
No, I think they're all that long.
Oh, they're like 34.
Stand by.
I check them before I listen. And you sleep through a lot of them. It's also a good way to get a nap because some of them are very dry.
I don't sleep through them. I listen to them in the car. So I,
So it's
hope
good
not.
you're not
Yeah.
sleeping. Yeah.
I clearly am not sleeping.
The one or two after Jackson got a little dry. And then
yeah,
they,
there's some really dull
then they got into those ones that I was
presidents out there. Yeah, they're. Well, William Henry Harrison's pretty light. Yeah.
I would have so much
We'll
to
split
learn
the
about that.
Tyler was the one that I couldn't stay awake through. Tyler and Polk would wake me up because they kept playing the song by They Might Be Giants.
Yeah.
That would wake me up every
Like,
time.
"Oh, yeah, James K. Polk.
So I finally was driving and I listened to both of those on my way back and forth to work the last couple days. So I finally heard the story of Tipper Canoe and Tyler too. But I mean, history buff,
just
you
wait.
love things that are about real people. They're
I do.
fascinating.
His grandson
short-
comes up and she'll play the song again. She'll play Tippy Canoe again when his grandson
Oh yeah,
becomes president.
because there turns out we had a grandfather and grandson that were president, and I never realized that.
I know.
That was something that never even occurred to me, that they might be related.
So much information.
So much information.
coming into our brains.
I have to learn so much.
gracious.
Who the fuck are we now?
Well-
Do you have anything?
I have some things.
You have two things?
I have two things.
Okay.
Minty things.
It's two things with Cat Carlson.
First we'll see how far we get. First, I have two things that are entertainment related.
Ah.
Oh.
My two new obsessions. One I just finished. Watch on Netflix The Get Down. You are gonna. Have you seen it?
I am. It's on my
You
list.
are gonna
Loaded
love
and ready.
it. The song that comes out of that, I'm obsessed with. It's called "Set Me Free." It's available on Spotify and probably all of your
Oh,
other.
is this the series about
music.
The disco
era? I
Yes.
saw a preview
Yes.
of it. Yes.
It's Baz Luhrmann, which is always kind of hard for me to kind of adjust to. There's always
Yeah.
like that culture shock where I'm like, what is? Wait.
He gives you Bollywood.
Wait.
Everything but the kitchen sink.
Right. But once I powered through, then I'm obsessed and addicted and just finished. It's only 6 parts. It's 6 one-hour episodes on Netflix. And it's
Get Down, right?
The Get Down. Yeah, and it's about just disco era in
Leading into hip hop, right?
leading into
Cabaret.
hip hop, right? And there are parallel like musical journeys, and there's parallel like character journeys, but you have to kind of get there. You have to be ready for it and kind of buckled
Yeah.
in for a Baz Luhrmann kind of experience. Because that first episode, I was like, "What is
Right.
I ended the first hour going, I'm not even sure what I just watched.
And
Like,
you're
I
familiar
don't-
with Strictly
I
Ballroom,
don't
right?
know-
The first of
yes.
the Red Curtain trilogies.
Yeah.
Yes, just a delight.
Yeah, so I was like,
Sexiest man in a movie ever.
yeah. But now the thing that I cannot stop listening to that has surpassed even the boring presidential podcast is this song called "Set Me Free," which is the song that eventually comes out of all of the journey, and I'm obsessed.
Oh, I can't wait. I love to join you in an obsessive song choice or two.
You know, I like when we follow each other into our obsessions. The other obsession, welcome Bag of Nope. Yes, oh my God, with this song. I sent it to her earlier. I was like, oh my God, you have to listen to this song right now. What are you doing? Are you working? Did you listen to the song yet? I love the song. Listen to the song. I can't stop, and I won't stop. I'm like Miley Cyrus.
I love me some Baz Luhrmann.
The other thing, also on Netflix, and then coming for a second season beginning very, very soon. It's on, I think, the CW as a network. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I just brand out. I think you talked about it when
did.
I was away.
Um,
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I can't even.
It like you
It's
squeal with
so-
delight and kick your feet with joy at how much fun that show is and how much I want to be every character.
Almost.
Yeah. But I mostly want to be the coworker that only likes her when she's
Yes.
obsessed with the guy.
Yes.
Then she
I
just
definitely want to be that girl.
so much, and the music is so fun.
And it's, and it's all of the sudden musical for no reason.
Yeah. There's no reason for that show to have singing and dancing in it.
No reason.
No reason.
No
but
reason.
But
Seriously, when that first song comes on, I was like, what is happening
how? Why? Huh?
right now? I don't know. Yeah, Mylene Cruz. I don't remember the actress's name. But that's the character's name.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. So good. All right, so that's what I had. That's my current obsessions.
Oh,
For
and
entertainment.
did Anant say goodbye to us? The
Yeah, I think
actress,
so.
the actress from Quantico.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh God, she's gorgeous.
Yeah,
but
she really
she
is.
really looked good, and she got a lot of attention on the red carpet beforehand.
Chopra.
Yes,
Pre.
I don't even try.
I want to say it's like
But he talks about her all the time.
Who are we talking about?
The one from Quantico,
the one
and
from
I'm
Quantico
fucking
on
it up.
ABC.
Chopra, but
She's the only
she's
reason I would ever watch
gorgeous.
Quantico. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never watched it before, but if I was going to,
I feel like it's
she'd be
Priyak,
the
but
reason.
I'm probably
Tupac Chopra.
No,
Kidding.
similar,
Similar.
all the same sounds,
Priyanka,
all the same sounds. We'll go with that.
but in her gown the other night was just ridiculous.
gorgeous. It was silly.
So I thought of him the whole night that I was watching because they just kept cutting to her because clearly they need you to watch Quantico on ABC.
What ABC? You
Yeah.
want us to watch your shows? Because as it turns out, I feel like the free market and the opening of like internet and streaming and other networks that are not like ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. I feel like that little crack of opening up has really kind of threatened, number one, the big four.
Oh, it has for years.
And I feel like in my experience, like my TV watching experience has improved.
Oh yeah, because more choices.
I
is
think
always
I've
better.
got more options and I can watch more of the things that I want. I think cord cutting really helped me too, but now I watch only what I want. I don't just turn on the TV to turn on the TV. I turn it on and go, okay, well let's choose from all of these wonderful things that we're obsessed with.
But
I don't know if the day comes and I actually do completely cut the cord, because as many of these wonderful shows as you've talked about, and I've watched one here, one there, they just don't really interest me. I guess because I don't think I'd ever sit down and watch TV. I really don't. I think I would go to my app and I would watch the nightly news on the NBC app because.
I hear you.
But I just don't think. I don't know that I would ever watch any of these shows because I really.
Oh, it's just light, and it like
Yeah.
my job can be so stressful. So to just dive into something light and frivolous is just delightful. Like to
And I feel like I watch more hours at a time because I watch an entire series.
yeah.
But I
You
mean,
know,
I
you
did
get-
enjoy
you
like
get
the Grace and
sucked
Frankie
in.
thing that I got into, and I did enjoy watching all
Yeah.
of that.
See, we just
But-
have to find your thing.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's it, but I can't. I mean, there are so many shows
Maybe
you
a
all talk
delightful
about.
story
I just
in
can't
West
even
Coast,
and
imagine.
you
know?
can't watch everything
You cannot
everyone
watch
recommends
everything,
because
no.
there's not enough hours in the day.
No.
But once something hooks you in, like that Stranger Thing was the last thing that was like, I was 15 minutes in and I'm like, let's just brew the pot of coffee. We're done. Like, turn off the phone till I have to go. And I actually had to go to work, and I was talking to Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald and I are very close. It's
He's
the
a
long
big
duck,
liar.
It's the long duck down.
You're back to the
I'm
long
assuming you
duck
meant
duck.
Montgomery.
Molly Montgomery and I were talking, and she's like, "Oh, I'm on episode 6, and I had to go to bed." And I was seriously like doing the little kid thing of like, "No, I'm not sleeping." And finally, I'm like, "You can go to bed and get up tomorrow and watch
gonna-
this."
right,
Like,
you can still watch it.
It'll still be here. But I was so hooked. Oh, Jody, I'll watch Frasier. Frasier still
I
makes
do
me
enjoy
laugh.
Frasier.
Anytime I land on Frasier,
Oh yeah, there's a
it's
couple.
just a giggle
Friends
fest.
is the
Same.
same way. Like
Yeah.
anytime
Oh.
Friends is on,
The subtle
I'm
little jokes.
set.
Friends, I still enjoy, yeah. But Frasier, there are so many subtle little jokes that are just slipped in and just they gloss over them. But like Niles will say something and he'll give him a look. I just enjoy the shit out of that
Oh,
show.
the best episode ever though is it's called Leap. I think it's called Leap of Faith. It's the leap year episode because their show was on the leap year of like 96. So I think it's from the 4th season. And he convinces everyone on the show to take a leap of faith, and they all go wrong. And so
no.
he decides, instead of for the annual PBS pledge drive, instead of doing Buttons and Bows from America's favorite musical Paleface, he's going to do a rather challenging aria from Rigoletto. And after everyone goes wrong, he decides he can't do it, but he hasn't reversed Buttons and Bows. So he has to make up the words. And it's like tacos and shows. And he turns around to wipe off the sweat and comes back to Buttons and Bows. And it's so fucking wrong. It is one of my favorite episodes of television. Every once in a while, if you're feeling down, just find that episode. I think it's in season 4. I'll just Google it for you and help you out. You will pee your fucking pants at how everything. It's a new haircut. It's going to visit a friend. But when he sings Buttons and Bows at the end,
I'm gonna write that down because I do enjoy Frasier. Well, and I always loved Roz, his producer.
Yeah.
She's
and Froz has to go say hi to the guy in the bus that didn't ask her out. Oh, it's called Look Before You Leap from 1996, and it was aired on February 29th of 1996, and it remains one of my favorite fucking episodes of TV anywhere ever. And the payoff on that, and then the little tag of it is Daphne and his father watching him on PBS over and over again on a loop do the song, and they start to do the dance with him. It's good TV.
That is good.
Along with the Ski Lodge episode, Joe.
Oh,
the Ski
yes.
Yeah,
Lodge.
that was
Yep.
very funny.
Written by one of my favorite authors, Joe Keenan, was a writer for that. He's written some of my favorite books, and he does farce.
Okay.
3 of the funniest books I have ever read in my life. Joe Keenan, writer. Books that make you laugh out loud till you just can't stand it. But he won an Emmy for the Ski Lodge episode, and he won for the Matchmaker where they think the father's gay.
I do. I
They
recall
brought him
parts of
on
that.
when Desperate Housewives started to get a little honky and they weren't sure that they were still a comedy. They brought in Joe Keenan to save it. Blue Heaven, Putting on the Ritz, and My Lucky Star. It's a trilogy of books with a gay guy, his best friend, and their songwriters that are trying to put on a music. They're trying to write the new great American musical. They've had one piece of success, and they have a meddling friend, this gay guy that he's best friends with but not lovers with anymore, that's always trying to ruin their lives. 88, 91, and 2006, he finally did the last of My Lucky Star. Blue Heaven is a book that I almost lost consciousness from laughing. Like, I had to hide it from myself because I have never laughed that hard. Blue Heaven, Putting on the Ritz, and My Lucky Star. And it was referred to as a gay P.G. Woodhouse, so I would have to agree with that, too.
Look out.
Lambda Literary Award winner. Good time. So Joe Keenan was part of the great success of Frasier, and anytime they do a farce with slamming doors or mistaken identity, it's written by Joe
That's
Keenan.
him.
Yeah, then you know Joe is in the room.
It's fantastic. I'm all about it. I've become a hermit. I don't like plans or people, so I'll watching a lot more TV these days.
Start with Blue Heaven.
It's really a good thing you're a bartender as a profession.
It really
Very
is.
good.
Otherwise, I would see no people.
There's
Yeah.
that.
That's a good point.
Did you have a second thing? I thought was that your first melded into one big thing, or what did you do there?
Hey, and it led me to Joe Keenan, so it's a win.
Right, we got all the way to Joe
Well, it was.
Keenan.
She gave us the Get Down and Crazy
Oh,
Ex-Girlfriend.
okay,
and,
got it.
and a little
I'm paying
bit
attention.
about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
There was
Sure.
something that I thought for sure one of you would bring up, and you didn't, and I just thought, well, at the end of it, here we'll bring it up. You commented about it on Facebook earlier today. Anything about Bush #1 voting for
Yeah.
Hillary coming
Oh,
out?
I have that down here,
And he came out literally today, and he's like, "That's who he's voting for,
Yep.
supporting Hillary."
so now it's Barbara, Laura, Bush the first.
My favorite.
Jeb, where's Jeb?
Jeb! Oh my God, which was the funniest
Jeb
thing.
Bush on
That's
the
what I
Emmy
was
Awards.
waiting for.
Oh, I forgot about the
No.
It was
opening
the
montage.
funniest thing. I give him props.
Jeb! Exclamation point!
Jeb
He actually said
Says it.
No,
Oh,
damn
he
it.
did.
They have Jimmy Kimmel jumping from car to car trying to get to the Emmys, and they
Okay.
have
Oh, and he's in a car.
and he's the driver of the limo. And he goes, "I've been looking for work," and then they have him. I'll send you the link because it's fucking funny. And all of a sudden he's like, "That's not funny." It's something like, "That's not funny, Jimmy Kimmel, get out," or something. And then he's going to drive away, and he goes, "Jeb!" Exclamation point.
Oh,
It was,
That's
It's
funny.
very funny.
They've been listening to our show.
I
Oh
forgot
God, it
about
was
that.
very
that
funny.
is very funny.
Yeah, I appreciated that very much.
That's
But
bad.
interesting that that the old senior Bush is gonna go for our girl. I think that's great. It's interesting.
What Trump's loudmouth blonde,
Yeah,
who was on
Marianne, go fuck yourself.
whatever her fucking
Yeah.
name is, she was on CNN, and Brooke Baldwin, I think, was asking her a question about Trump, or I mean, excuse me, about Bush senior voting, and
I didn't
she
see
said,
this.
she says, well, you know, we respect the Bush presidencies, and we respect, you know, I mean, I do respect that 92-year-old president, blah, blah, and made sure to say his age
like he was senile.
like he was senile.
Oh,
Like, well, that's
rude.
nice,
Well,
but, you know,
and-
he's old.
And
And I thought,
unfortunately,
wow.
it's kind of easy to dismiss his endorsement.
Sure.
He's elderly. He's got nothing to lose. Like, what does he got to
Right.
lose?
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing. He's got nobody to prove anything to. He's got nobody to nothing. I think that his party has changed dramatically since
Right.
even he was president.
oh, sure.
But
it
the
has.
fact
I-
that he was the Republican chairman,
Yes,
like,
and standard bearer for.
Yeah.
I-
but
for-
I think
but I
that his party
agree with
has
you.
changed to an unrecognizable beast.
But
From-
what they have to keep drilling home, he was the vice president for 8 years under Reagan.
Oh.
So if you're going to keep
And
telling Trump is the
that's
new
when
Reagan,
that's when that change really.
yeah, this is they're all sucking on Reagan's teat.
And
But
always
now
will.
his vice president is suddenly too old to make a decision. Like that was his first big decision, was getting Bush on the ticket to give him some. Well, he didn't really need that. He didn't need the gravitas, whatever the word would be, because he'd been governor of California
Sure.
and the Screen Actors Guild, which is very important. But he had some political experience. He wasn't a complete novice coming in.
He needed conservatism, didn't he? Wasn't he seen as kind of a
Oh, no,
an
he was
actor
always-
from California? Like he was, but still, he was.
But actors from California were very conservative back then.
At the
that
time,
switched
okay.
too. Yeah, like John Wayne, big asshole.
Well,
Like big asshole. Like these were really awful people. The Hollywood, and they were so against.
I'm not
like,
sure
the
that they're still
nudity.
great people, but they've
They're
become
not
a lot more liberal.
But Ronald Reagan was one of the people that fought against that. Was like the swearing in the movies. Like they were against all that stuff.
Huh.
Like any kind of political protest at the Oscars, they thought that was like peeing on a soldier. They wanted nothing to do with it. The anti-war movies they were against. Anything that represented the counterculture, they were against. Yeah, real like close-minded dicks. So, and one more on Joe Keenan. He actually wrote one of my favorite series finales of all time, The Good Night Seattle. The last episode of Frasier was Joe Keenan as well. And I think that's, of all those shows that ended in those 2 years, Sex and the City and Friends, I thought Frasier had the best.
Last episode.
Yeah, the best last episode.
I think Friends had the worst.
I was too busy crying. I don't
And
know. Who can say?
And I still have not seen most of the final season of Will and Grace. Just because I lost interest. They spun out of control at some point. I was like,
It's on my radar right
it's
now.
not
I've
funny
actually
anymore.
been like a little bit here and there watching season 1 because I got my hands on all of the seasons.
Well, that's when they were trying to figure out who the fuck Karen really was, season 1, and they finally honed her in, and then they went for the.
It starts funny, the last season of Will and Grace. It gets a little screechy because they have somewhere to go, and then it lands just perfectly. That's another one that's a great final episode.
I guess I need to put that on my list.
Yeah.
Get it from the library.
And
that's
that you
fun.
missed everything. We talked
That's my
about
new thing.
Bollywood. We talked about
Priyanka
Priyanka Chopra. Thankfully, Amina is spelling it phonetically for us.
There's
We
that.
do enjoy phonics. Hooked on Phonics worked for us.
Oh, are we doing a thoughtful?
Let's
What are we
do a
doing? Okay, let's
thoughtful.
do something and get out of this bullshit today. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Thoughtful?
Thoughtful. Yeah.
Well, all right. It's gonna go like this.
And now, Thoughtful Vulgarity, where we in the studio try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel while fucked up drunk, because you know at home how well it goes when important questions come up several hours after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? Good luck. So now that we're talking about things that we're in the world of podcasts and all you can learn about, what's something that you really want to know more about? Like what would you sit down to 12 episodes of to learn more about?
Charles Manson.
Oh, really?
Planning something, Marnie?
Something. Cabaret on cabaret.
Well, Amina's with you
yeah.
on that one.
No, yeah, that would be it. I'm fascinated by anything serial killer, really. I'm just fascinated by it.
And what about him especially? Like,
I think because it was right around when I was born, and just kind of following the fact that we've talked about that before with the cult kind of stuff, where I think
Like the Jim Joneses
the
of
Jim
the world.
Joneses and all that kind of thing, where I think what was it about this little man,
very small, by the way.
very small little guy that made people
And
like
still,
swoon.
Still has control over people who go to prison to see him or want to marry him.
Absolutely.
And it's just crazy that people are wrapped up in that.
I'm fascinated by it, and I think it also because the scariest thing that I ever saw and that I ever read was Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter, yeah.
And I mean, truly, sitting there, people would be watching other horror kind of things at the time growing up, right? With Jason, you know, whatever, and people would be like, whatever. No.
Oh no, the real guy was scarier.
Oh my God. I watched Helter Skelter and I was scared shitless for I don't even know. It was really something. And the guy that they got to play him was so
Yeah,
remarkably.
Steve Railsback. We've talked about him quite a few times.
God, it just still gives me the chills kind of. So yeah, I'm just fascinated by that. And you're right. His enduring power, for lack of a better, like the trance
Well,
people
it
get
just
in.
always stays in the news, and he just recently was married, so that's even weirder.
But
did
no,
that?
it didn't
was he,
go
or
through.
did it go? Didn't go through. That's what I thought.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
No, it
I
didn't go through.
think that's right because I thought I'd heard that there was a proposal they got coming towards it and somehow it got denied or fell apart.
I think it was her, but I don't think it was lack of.
But
She finally got Google.
But this was, and this was like in the past year or so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it wasn't too long ago.
So yeah, it's just a little too weird. A little too weird for me. So anything like that, the Jeffrey Dahmers, and the fact that, I mean, to go on point for now with the world, and we have to look for the terrorists, and we have to look for all these people. Well, you have Dahmer, and you have
they're
Gacy,
in your
and,
backyard,
and you have
and they're party clowns,
right? And you have Timothy McVeigh. I mean, like, you have all these little white people that are running around. Maybe we should start talking to a couple of them.
Yeah,
But
and that's one of those stories. And that show Aquarius with David Duchovny was on, and they just never got to the point.
Yeah, exactly.
It kept kind of like meandering around, like they were trying to like be about that but avoid that.
Yeah,
and that show kind of annoyed me.
Me too, because I really wanted it to be something more than it was. So that really irritated me.
But let me tell you, tell me that there's going to be something about the Manson family, we can be like tangential to like the fourth degree, and I'm like, oh, I'm in.
I have no idea.
Get the coffee, get the donuts. We're in for a watch here.
I don't know that I can name anything that Sharon Tate was in, because was she in Rosemary's Baby or no?
No,
Valley of the Dolls. But at the same,
and she might have a small part somewhere in Rose. No, I don't think she does. He directed, her husband directed Rosemary's Baby, but I don't think she's in that.
I just read that she was in was it a movie or was it a TV series? And they had her disguised. She was an actress in a TV series because I literally just saw that this week because they showed a picture of her in an outfit and nobody realized it was her.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody kept putting her in a TV series.
Oh, she's in the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, that is exactly what I saw.
15 episodes of that.
That's it. And I guess a lot of people didn't realize that's who she was or something to that effect.
Okay.
You don't watch any TV, but you were recently watching the Beverly
No, it was
Hillbillies?
it's one of those stupid things.
And he keeps you up to date on the Rockford Files, so don't buy all the bullshit.
Oh, by the way, I
No.
love the Rockford Files, so I'm good with
No,
that.
the Beverly Hillbillies thing came up. It's one of those things on Facebook where it says 20 things you didn't know about whatever show.
Yeah, the clickbait.
So
Yeah, we all click.
So I clicked through it, and because I was surprised at a couple of things, but that was one of them. I remember seeing that.
Well, and I just watched that Holy Hell on CNN.
Still haven't
wasn't
watched
that
it.
amazing?
Yeah. What a creepy little fag. I mean that with love.
Yeah.
Because for real.
That is so not what I expected to ever come out of your
No,
mouth.
Normally I won't say that, but that just, my God.
Creepy little
He
fag
was-
there. There is something.
That was almost the R word too. I was like, wow.
I know. And normally I won't do that, but he was.
I mean, I'm not offended, but
Something.
I'm just surprised
When did we become the Rainbow Network?
because
right?
it's easier. It's a long story about a dog and a
Yeah,
pony.
that if you guys haven't seen it and you
looks
do
so
get the
thin.
chance, that was.
Yeah, that's true. The Holy Hell and
Holy
CNN
Hell.
documentary, fascinating.
It really was. Yep.
I'm frightened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, me too. Because he had like a little munchkin.
Will you repeat the question?
That's all.
Like, I mean, you're doing this in every different topic now, but what's the next thing that you really want, like 12, 45-minute episode on to just beat it to death? Just bring it home.
Gosh, I don't even know. Because I am apparently prone to obsession and tail to snout consumption.
Tail to snout consumption. We have to thank David Sedaris for that phrase because I enjoy it to the tits. Let me just tell you.
I'm actually really delighted by the presidential podcast and would love to have the time to kind of look more into each one. Like, I kind of wish I had found it earlier so that I could obsess on a president a week.
Right, yeah.
And have a really fun time with that. I think my next obsession should be and might be just like the world that we're living in. Like, I'm always kind of bringing it back to a local issue or a local politics or a local happening, because so much is happening right here that is really affecting you that nobody's looking at. So leading up to and beyond this next election, I think that my like ongoing obsession may be just local happenings.
Yeah, local politics.
Local politics, local, legislature activity.
Maybe
budgets,
lead the
things-
podcast. Maybe lead the podcast from the Capitol building. I mean, it's right here in town.
Yeah.
Find out what those crazy fuckers are up to.
Hey, you guys, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I just take a box of diapers with you, so that they realize that they're not touching children at this point. They're in a box.
There you go. There you go.
I'm not really sure what to do with all that. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's kooky, weird shit like that, and it's always Arizona and Florida. Arizona and Florida did some weird,
And it
stupid
doesn't
governmental
seem like
shit.
Our local news ever does one interview with like something like this passes, and I feel like there's not one news station here locally that's doing an interview with someone that passed this bill of like,
Right.
what you thinking?
I will say that
With a real honest probing
They go to a
question.
trailer court and find some guy in a tank top. So what do you think about this? But you're right. They never go to the people who are in the legislature or the Senate who passed this shit.
Yeah.
I never see them on the TV.
Or like, remember we had the traffic cams
the
everywhere
one-
giving us all tickets, and it turns out the entire Arizona House had the license plate things that were illegal.
Right. So they
you
could avoid
didn't-
all of it.
So you could avoid the
Oh,
ticket.
so you couldn't see the
Right.
thing.
They went down and they took a picture, but they didn't interview all of them. They just were like, "Oh, look, everybody at the
Oh, look,
at the-
they have them.
The
Now,
state house
now
has
you know
this,
we're
yeah.
going to move on. And by the way, Brad and Angelina broke up.
Right.
Like, that's-
Or the other thing is they find out that all the cameras are owned oddly by people in the legislature that have the things.
Yeah.
Like there's always some little hook tail that comes back into all that
Right,
shit.
and it's all just it all seems very strange and secret to me. Like, the number of times that I've read about a secret session of the state legislature is like, what's happening
They're
here,
banning
kids?
they're
Like,
banning bags is what they're doing.
What are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
And why are we with all the secret sessions and all the midnight bullshit? Like, and where is the reporting on it?
I
You know,
think-
and I
Yeah.
will say, like, in my limited newspaper consumption, there has been a little more. It's buried on page 12, but
Right, you gotta
Oh.
read past
you
the headline.
you have to look for it, because Trump is still on the front page. Although they are doing a series right now on the deplorable condition of school buses, and I'm frightened, and I'm glad I drive my children.
because they need seatbelts.
Yeah, they do.
They
Like,
need
super stat.
seatbelts. They're not intended for the roads that they drive on. They fail inspections time after
Oh,
time
tons
after
of them.
time.
Yeah.
There's no money spent on them. They put raggedy buses on the road. They put dangerous buses on the road because there's no money and nobody cares and there's no regulation, and they don't have to because
No one cares.
state says they don't have to.
Well, that and nobody's monitoring it. I mean,
Yeah,
they just let it
no.
go to the wayside.
There's
Or
a
it's
lot.
or it's brought up every 5 years.
Yeah. So it's either that or Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh.
Because I'm terribly moved by that one episode of the podcast. I'm
Right.
like, I feel like I need to read that.
Well, I think based on some of the information I found out in the past 15 minutes, I'm going to be monitoring the whereabouts of Marnie Ryer a little closer.
For real.
I'd like to
Very
keep up a little more
concerned.
on where she is, what she's watching, and what her plans are in the near future. I'm
Cabaret.
a little concerned about that.
Well, it was either Charles Manson or the show with Clayton McKee.
One of the things that I guess
There's
fast,
more than 12 episodes.
Oh, that's right.
a lot of more 12 sessions with a therapist too.
Yeah. Good call.
I think maybe it kind of goes along with what she was thinking. One of the things that I'm always fascinated about, because I'm not that person and I don't think I have that streak in me, I really don't get people who can manipulate people. I'd like to figure out a little bit more just about the mental, and maybe it's kind of going along with what you were saying, because clearly Manson knew how to manipulate people. A lot of politicians knew how to manipulate people.
Oh, and that holy hell to
and
watch
that- right, totally.
that creepy little fag go at it.
So I mean, I get that's one of the things. I'm always fascinated when I watch a documentary or see something about something where a movement started or how you get people to follow you. I've just never been of that person, and I don't believe. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe I'm of that mindset. I don't think I've ever. I take that back. There was one person in my world that I really believed and I thought was truthful and honest, and I got completely sidetracked by. But in general, I've never been that person, and I've also never been. And we've talked about that before. I don't understand vandalism. I get why they do it, but I've never been of the mindset. Why would I spray paint something? Why would
Yeah.
I tear something up?
Right.
Why would I be destructive? Why would you not want to make it better? I get the inner city, the trials and tribulations, and they're bored and they're mad and they have no other outlet. I do understand that, But to me, I would think I would turn that around and make it a little more creative or better. I would try to better something. But I think learning a little more about how and why people manipulate and what I think, again, not because I want to manipulate anybody, I just don't get why people do it.
Right, and when you read, if like,
Fascinating,
because that kind of stuff gets me every time. Everyone knows my love of that type of magnetism. But the Jim Jones story, like, if you told me there was going to be 12 episodes on people in San Francisco, you're going to the home of Jim
Right.
Jones,
Exactly.
where they all came from.
Right,
Like,
Yep.
right.
And
in the
that-
Tales of the Cities book, because they were a weekly story of things going on in San Francisco at the time, the Jim Jones filters in and the people that leave, and that, like, there was this mass exodus
right.
of San Francisco for this cult. What was it about him? But to watch these shows and there's definitely a documentary on that. When
Oh,
you
I
see
watched a couple of them, and it's crazy to me. And that, I mean, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, if you've heard the expression, "Did you drink the Kool-Aid?" Or actually, Al, you say it all the time in reference to
Guyana.
Apple
Yep.
products. I drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's where that
Oh
comes
yeah,
from.
no, I say it all the time too.
Right.
But
The
that's how they
Guyana
died. He got
tragedy.
them to drink
That's
the
right.
Kool-Aid, and it had cyanide in it, and he killed all of them.
I
Right.
drank all the Hamilton Kool-Aid, and I'm gonna die very happily.
Yeah.
but just that idea
And
that somebody
who-
would be
And what?
prone to look up and just be ready to drink that Kool-Aid and know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And you're it's not just like, here, try this.
I'm pretty sure if Lin-Manuel Miranda walked in here with poison Kool-Aid, they're like, I'm out.
Can you get somebody to
Right.
sing while I drink this?
There are 3 songs on
lives,
the
who
soundtrack that'll
dies.
kill you.
Who tells
Do
my
you take
story?
the soundtrack?
Yes.
Al, what would yours be?
I love it.
I have to say that just from where I'm at now, and I certainly have done and probably not all I can with crime and murder, so I'm sure I'll be back to it. But now I want to know more about, like, how the states came to be. Like,
Oh, sure.
Like, West Virginia which is going to come up, I'm sure, in a presidential episode soon. There was no West Virginia. West Virginia wanted to be free. They didn't want to have slaves.
So all of a sudden,
So they
there's a
broke
split.
off and made their own state. That's how you get West Virginia, is it wanted to be a free...
The North, right.
Yeah, it wanted to be the northern part of Virginia. And that's why there's a West Virginia. So, like, how did these things
Is it the
get
same way
founded?
with the Dakotas?
No, they come later.
Okay. Well, I mean,
The
again,
Dakota territories are there, but there's all the things, like, and they talk about how James Buchanan's probable lover, who was the vice president under maybe Pierce, if I'm not mistaken, but died right away. So there's
Yeah.
one president that didn't have a vice president for his whole 4 years in
Oh, wow.
office. Mm-hmm. They just never bothered to replace him.
Nobody will notice.
He founded Selma, Alabama.
Yeah.
And you find out that he founded it and named it, and you're like, well, we have to back up, and how do you...
Wait, what do we know
How
about
do
Selma?
you
Like,
find
how do you-
Selma, Alabama? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much of our history right here that remains unknown or has been forgotten that I'm like, okay, how did that happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there turns out there was 3 Seminole Wars. I didn't know that.
Who knew?
With the Indians in Florida to get them out of Florida. We fought 3 completely different wars with the Native Americans in Florida. I had no idea.
Some bitch.
Well, because we don't talk about that.
And there was Manifest Destiny. It turns out I had the wrong president for that. It's not who I thought it was. It's Polk or whoever it was. It was like, go to war with Mexico. I want California. And just
Oh,
waited
yeah.
for an incident because he wanted the California coast. Even before the gold rush. So he was
Oh.
like, go to war. So we are now living in a state that just was part of a war fought for California. Like, we were not a wanted part of this. The country should go above us. As what's her name from Desperate Housewives? Eva Longoria said, I didn't cross the border
Border
crossed me.
Sure.
Because she's from Texas, which was first Mexico,
was
and
Mexico.
then second an independent country, and then it became part of America. But she's from a family that's always lived in Texas.
Oh.
It was Mexico, and then it was the nation of Texas for a brief but glorious time.
Because we wanted it.
Yeah.
We got it.
We got it. So there's all these stories about just our American history that are just lost to time or just forgotten about. Of like, it just exists. Who knows?
And I have
because I
I'm-
think it makes us look like terrible people.
Oh, no,
because
we are.
Every single leap forward is a terrible atrocity against everyone
Yeah.
except for white people.
Yeah, and there's genocide at just about every turn.
Just willy nilly everywhere. Just kill all of the people that are in our way.
Because you don't think of Indiana as being Indian territory till you think about the name, or Native American territory.
I wonder where the Indian
We wiped
came
out a
from.
population. Turns out that was a state set aside for Native Americans, and then we were like, "No, we need that too."
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Sorry,
that's really
you're
how we
gonna
get
go.
Indiana. Like that honestly is why it's called that, because we were horrible to the
How
people that lived
fucking
there.
ridiculous that would never have made sense to me until you just said that.
Right. Like, how'd you come up
God,
with that
that-
name? Well,
Right.
because we set it
What?
aside for the
You're
Indians
a
and then we
moron.
kicked them off. And
Yeah.
But even
Indian.
people born and raised in Indiana
yeah.
don't quite put all that together.
Sure.
yeah, so it,
I-
Hoosiers were Hoosiers and proud Hoosiers at that.
Sure.
and the people that wanted to go west, but they wanted to go west with their slaves because there was no other way to afford it. So they needed the westward expansion to be slave states, not free states. It's just, so to me, that's just fast. So now I want someone to sit down and do like all 50 states. How'd we get here and how'd you get your stupid name? You know what I mean? Like ours is the Grand Canyon State. That's easy.
Goodness.
New York, the Empire State. Turns out it's a George Washington quote. I stand here at the dawn of a new empire. Standing in New York City in his inauguration speech. So like why is Pennsylvania the Keystone State? What the fuck is a keystone? How do we find out? You know what I mean? What's a Hoosier? It's probably an Indian that we killed.
Missouri is show
And then
me
we
state.
said,
Isn't the keystone the stone at the top of an arch that holds it all
Yes,
together?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So
could be
Pennsylvania
it,
probably holding it all together.
I
at
thought
some
it was a
point.
pipeline.
but it's not the top of the country. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
there's north and further north.
Yes, it is.
Maine was part of Mass.
Ask
Further
Meow
north.
Cal.
Yeah.
North
Maine-
and further north.
Maine
make
was
it
part
up.
of Massachusetts.
You got a lot
and
of
then
work
had
to
to
do on
fight
that
to be
map,
free of
Meow Cal.
Massachusetts. But Massachusetts used to include Maine until like 1850.
Well,
It's not one of the
Where-
original colonies.
well, now they got that dumbass Lamont.
Right. So I mean, to me,
Oh.
it's just fascinating. It's stuff that you just don't know. So put it on. You got 50 days to enthrall me.
U.S. history brought to you by the show with Clayton McKee.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I
who'd
just
have
think
thunk
it is.
that?
And I think
An
What a
ant-
way to become an
Ant, I have
educational
down
podcast.
I'm not gonna mispronounce what it is that you're obsessed with. So I just put that in my Google and I'm gonna look that up.
Mahabharat? Or
Mm-hmm.
Draupadi? Whatever.
Look at you with the
Ramayana.
pronunciation.
wow.
I didn't have my glasses on. I'm just hoping that's what all those little symbols mean on that screen.
Yeah.
It's
So
all.
I mean, I just think it's interesting, and now it turns out that it's out there, and some other nerd probably has the same idea and like works for the Washington Post and has put it together for you, so you can listen to it.
I don't know if anybody's done the states yet.
Right. So hopefully, when she's done with the president,
We
she'll
need
be
to
like,
start
Well, there is
writing
the-
to her.
There is the
Although
series.
she does have that accent that makes D's out of T sounds that drives me nuts.
"Oh," and she puts me to sleep instantly.
There
She
is the
buttons
series
her thing
on either
Yeah.
Discovery or History about how the states got their shapes. That's along the lines of what you're talking about.
And that would be a welcome inclusion into the story of each state. How did you decide on that border?
Yeah, I was one about the borders of the states, but it's more not just. I don't know if it's specific about the shapes, but it tells you the stories.
And New York is almost all waterways. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's Lake Erie, it's Lake Ontario, it's the St. Lawrence, it's the Hudson. Like
Uh-huh.
that border is pretty pronounced by. But how did you decide where Pennsylvania and New York start? Like there's no water border there.
Sure.
Or a
like
mountain-
natural borders
so
are
like a
really easy
mountain
Like
to
did you
figure
know
out.
Vermont was its own country?
No,
Yep, and it literally means Green Mountain, but it was its own country for a brief but glorious time. It was its own republic.
did I
I'm
know?
all about yeah. Oh shit.
Yes, we need complete histories
Right? Yeah, I mean it's
of
it's
your fake
interesting to me.
states.
Yep.
I'll just spoil it. The Carolina one's not very interesting. They just ran out of names.
And somebody that lived there named
They
Caroline.
didn't just separate. They were just like, yeah, Carolina sounds good. Keep going.
And Nant, I have to tell you, I just read all I did was read a little blurb. How old is the? I'm gonna say it wrong, but whatever. Ramayana, and this is like 5,116 years ago, and there's something called a yuga, and then there's a second yuga. I gotta tell you, I thought that it was a Yugo, and that they got rid of those fucking cars years ago.
in the 80s.
So, Nan, I don't know what to do because that just made
I
me
did love that
tired.
joke though. Hey, what do you drive? You go. No, you go. Fuck
No,
yourself.
You go fuck yourself.
I'm gonna have to look a little bit more into this, and
Well, it's
before
it's
I
also
can
Fargo.
commit, because
Or not
no,
Fargo.
no.
What was the
Argo.
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 Argo. Fuck yourself.
Argo, fuck yourself.
Yes.
Oh, more South Dakota.
Further
So
south.
many things to learn, and yet you people have wasted 3 hours learning.
Actually, almost 3.5.
They just learned that we know nothing. So God bless you.
You could have figured that out.
God
Show
love us.
number 1.
Yeah, well, good call.
But we
Yes.
do have a resident cartographer.
Yeah,
Not
thank
every
God.
show provides
No,
that.
That's
we got
true.
that. It's good to know.
Yep, that's fantastic.
Oh, criminy.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody. Wow, the chat room was really busy. You almost learned something. Be careful. Don't get too excited. We're not gonna share a lot of knowledge with
No,
this show.
no.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks everybody. I think we did it.
I think so.
Seems like we did.
Yep.
All right.
I can call bullshit on it.
Well, as we wrap up tonight's show, we're going to leave you with this parting thoughts. We will
See you next Tuesday.
Can anyone see us?
Only with that camera.
Oh, okay.
You've been listening to The Show on Q Talk America.